closer than you think. It's not a tournament. It's what you don't see on TV. The cash is real. The stakes are high. They bet big. They win big. They lose big. High stakes live action poker. Live at the bike. Watch it live on the web or play it if you dare at the Bicycle Casino right here in Los Angeles.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Live at the Bike, brought to you by the Bicycle Casino in Los Angeles, California, the first and only webcast of real action cash game poker. My name is Bart Hansen. I'm here with Dave Tuckman, and we're going to be doing Wednesday night 2040 No Limit Hold'em. And we expect Corporation Mike is in the game, Barry's in the game, Jonas is in the game, Adam is expected to be in the game here shortly. It's going to be a doozy of a game. So let's head over to the table and let's start it up.
Yeah, don't want to miss any doozy action here. Well, you pretty much introduced the whole table. Seat 2 is Mike. Seat 3, we've got Avo, real solid player. Seat number 5, we've got Dr. Allen. Seat number 6, Barry Woods. Don't call me Greenstein. Now, Barry's already doubled up Mike, by the way. Now, Barry flopped the set before the show had started, and Mike made his straight. He was open-ended. Flop had come out 10-8 blank, and Barry had top set. Seat number 7 is Alex. Seat number 8 is Mo. And seat number 9 is the ever-lovable Jonas.
And we are expecting Corporation Mom, Trish, in seat number 4, and we're expecting Adam in seat 1.
Yes, you are correct, Bart.
So here we go. 2040 no limit. Brown chips are $10 chips. Whites are hundreds. It's an uncapped game. Big gray ones are thousands, and big pink ones are 5,000s.
And if you're new to Live at the Bike, this is what our show is all about. We do high-stakes cash games, live, unedited, unscripted. Thank you for joining us.
Mike is going to raise it out of the small blind here with ace-queen offsuit to 300, and he's going to take it down. So we're playing seven-handed right now, which, sometimes you think that's a little bit short, but commonly you're not playing a full nine-handed game in a cash game because people get up at any time.
Exactly.
I got to tell you, usually in the rarity, it is nine-handed. Usually
very rare. In fact, I was playing in a game last night. It was nine-handed for a while. Then a couple of players went over to play heads-up mixed game. Then a couple of people went home, and we actually played four-handed for about 2.5 hours. And the game was phenomenal, to say the least.
So the button's over here in Corporation Mike's hand in seat 2. Jonas has got a king-queen offsuit here in seat 9, one in the cutoff, and he's going to raise. He's going to make it 180 to go here.
And Mike calls.
Wow, king deuce of clubs, he is dominated.
Yeah, and these are definitely, I really think these are the leaks in Mike's game, I just don't see how there's much value in calling a raise against a pretty good player.
Wow, look at this, Jonas's flop, bottom 2 pair, very vulnerable board. He's going to bet 300 here. 3 spades on the flop, and Mike is going to call here, virtually drawing dead.
Yeah, he can catch what, running? Surprisingly, he's actually 12%.
Turn is an 8 here. And Jonas checks, and Mike is going to bet. Mike is going to bet here, looks like.
Okay, how can Mike win this hand? Help me here. Am I blind? Am I missing something here?
They can chop it, obviously. And
I
Jonas
know
just
chops,
calls.
But how can you...
$500 bet and a call. This pause quickly, $2,000, and the river's an 8. It's a 4 spade. And is Mike going to throw a big bluff out here?
Well, he's got it. He knows he's behind.
And Mike is going to bet out here again. He bets $1,200 into about a $2,000 pot, so it's about a $3,200 pot. $1,200 for Jonas to call, but Jonas can't even beat an ace here, Dave. The 8 really killed him on the river, and he folds. And Mike shows king deuce right off the bat there, Dave.
Now, and somebody can say, well, that's the value of playing king deuce. Well, in that case, you're pretty much playing any 2 cards in position just to make a play, right? That's the only value of it.
Yep.
And the one thing with Mike is his confidence right now is so high, he really feels like he can outplay anybody. And eventually, we all know this happens eventually, it catches up to you because you can't outplay him all day, every day. Sometimes the cards have to speak and they have to show him down once in a while.
Of course, we got a good reactive player in the game, Barry Woods, who's not necessarily, they say, a table captain, but he will play with Mike and Jonas, who are going to be the laggy ones on the table.
Yeah.
Then we got Dr. Allen, of course, in seat 5, and Avo in seat 3, and Alex, who really didn't have a good showing last time on Live with the Bike in seat 7.
Yeah, you wonder now. I like Alex's game. Once again, probably 80% of the time. You wonder if this game stays shorthanded for a while, if he's a little bit outmatched with this kind of competition. Avo is probably one of the stronger players in the game. Knows how to make a move when he has to. Real solid, real patient. Not intimidated at all.
Button's going to move here to seat 5. That's Dr. Allen. And Dr. Allen kind of, he kind of dunked it up on in the 3 to 5.
Oh, he admitted that. He even said he's come today to redeem himself.
Avo's going to raise it here to 160 with King Queen offsuit. He's going to take it down here without a flop.
And that was a collection pot, and it's going to be a collection pot again. Collection in this game is actually $11 every half hour. And the winner of this pot actually pays the collection to the table. So in this case, it'll be $77.
Of course, we'd like to keep this show interactive. You can email us at live@thebike.com. Questions, comments, suggestions. We're going to be doing our video blog tomorrow, Dave. We're going to use one hand from what I played with this week, and we're still looking for another hand. So you can email us your interesting hands in the subject, hand for bluff, and that's how I kind of move it over and read all the hands. Yeah. And you can get that in by tonight, by the end of the show.
And obviously, the more information you give us, and I'm saying everything, from what you were eating to how much money you've made to everything about you and your opponent, really helps us dissect the hands.
Now, Mo's got pocket jacks in the big blind. It was limped around, and he's going to raise. Now, Barry's got pocket 8s on the button. He might call here, Dave.
I don't know if Mo is deep enough.
Yeah, let's see. Mo might have about 3,000 or so in front of him.
So you're calling here, you're getting a, if you get all of Mo's money, you get 10 to 1. A lot of things have to go right for you to get all of Mo's money. I mean,
that's right.
You have to hit your 8. Remember, a queen, a king, or an ace can't come out.
That's right. Now, Barry's going to make the call here. And is Alex is going to overcall here with ace-9 of hearts? He does.
Yeah, and I don't like that call, I got to tell you.
And this
the fact that it's suited really doesn't add much to it.
Pot is quickly about $1,100 here as we go to the flop. Well, 7-4-4. Barry and Mo both have overpairs. Is Barry going to get involved? And Mo is going to really push out here.
And Barry's got to realize that 8s are not the nuts here.
Barry bets 800 here, about a 2/3 pot-size bet.
Actually, Barry? Mo, right? Yeah.
Excuse me, Mo. Yeah.
Barry throws it away. Nice laydown. And one of the reasons I don't like the call by Barry is I just think it was too much money. Not because of how much money he has, but I think your opponent has to have, say, $5,000 to really make that call. Because you got to realize, Mo is a pretty good player, and he can get away from a hand as weak as jacks, especially if the flop comes out, say, queen, 8, deuce. How much money are you really going to make?
Talking about how Adam called and said he was going to be here at 6:30. He is not here yet. Trish has come into the game in seat 4. We always talk about Trish being almost like the antithesis of Mike. Very solid, tight player, smart player. I really, she might be somebody I might, target to get off of a hand, but I don't necessarily think I'm going to get paid off from her. She's a good player.
No, I really have a lot of respect for Trish's game.
Yeah.
I was able to one time represent, I remember she had pocket kings, the board came out 7-7-4, and I was able to represent the 7 and get her off kings because of the way I played it. A move that I would never make against her son.
Now, Mike is straddled here, so it's going to be 80 to go. And Alex is going to limp in on the button. We need to see his cards over there in seat 7. Mo calls.
And that gets pretty big. Once you get a straddle in here, suddenly you have a $320 pot before the flop.
And look at this. Alex limped in with ace-king. I think he was trying to pull the limp re-raise on the button, Dave. He did not raise on the button or straddled pot with ace-king. And the flop comes out rags. And Mike is hit top pair, and he's going to lead out. Well, at least Alex quickly gets away from it here.
Yeah, and nothing wrong with limping with ace-king, kind of disguising the strength of your hand and just getting rid of it when you miss. Because if a king comes out there, Mo is going to lose a lot of money.
Not necessarily putting Alex, obviously, on ace-king because he didn't raise on the button.
Exactly. Alex didn't raise on the button. What would I lose to? I'd only lose to ace-king here. No, I don't think he has that. He probably has king-jack or king-10.
Of course, you can follow a live thread started on the internet by going to 2plus2.com, spelled out, click on forums, World Poker Tour, etc. Officially live at the bike thread for June 7th.
I mean, you've got to realize, depending on the game you're playing at, the one thing about no limit hold'em that really changes it from limit hold'em, and one of the reasons I love it so much, is the strategies have to change almost every hour as your game changes, as your table changes. I was playing in a game last night that was so loose, passive calling station that, but I mean, we're talking big pre-flop raises and 5 people calling anyway, where it was correct, and I was actually limping in with queens routinely in early position. Not in late position, but in early position.
Now, Dr. Allen has raised it kind of small. He's made it 100 to go with pocket tens. Barry Woods is in there with 8-9 of clubs. Alex comes in with a low-suited connector. Mo is smooth call with 7s on the button here. And look at Jonas here. He's going to re-raise with ace-4. We talk about how sometimes he wants to win every pot. This is like a tournament move here. There's a lot of dead money in there.
Well, you know, the way that Jonas is playing this hand is if he figures we can get past Dr. Allen, everybody else has got garbage.
Obviously, because they just smooth called Allen's raise.
Right, it was a small raise, and nobody really put anything into it. And he looked at it and goes, you know what, it's $500 dead money. I'll take a shot at it.
And I think Allen's thinking about pushing here. He might push.
I don't know how deep Dr. Allen is, but I think Dr. Allen really only has 2 moves. I think you're either, well, you are in position on Jonas.
And he's going to push. He is going to push here. And I really don't mind the play here at all.
No, I don't mind it either. I was going to say you could push. Obviously, you can call because you are in position on Jonas. Jonas is also kind of short stacked right now. He just lost a flush over flush before the game started as well.
Now, the pot here before the all-in is about 1,200. How much more is it here? Is it about 1,200? So Jonas would be getting about 2 to 1 here.
Well, and he's about a 2 to 1 dog, isn't he?
I don't know if he has 1,200 though.
Yeah, he does. That's
He
whites.
does?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think he does.
Now, you wonder if he was getting 3 to 1, he actually might call with the ace and hope that Dr. Allen doesn't have it.
He's getting 3 to 1. I think he has to call.
Yeah. And look at Jonas. He's saying, do you have a pair yet? And he's going to get away from it.
Most of the table probably assumes they have pocket 4s.
Might be a 51% favorite, maybe.
Dr. Allen obviously well out ahead there.
Yeah, and I don't mind the play by Jonas. You've got to realize, yeah, there's a chance that my ace is live, but there's a good chance Dr. Allen might have aces here. And then I'm almost drawing dead.
Button moves over here to Jonas in seat number 9. So we're
Small-
playing 8-hand in here.
Yeah, small blind is Mike, big blind is Avo, and under the gun, there's Corporation Mike. Actually, she's not in the game yet, sorry. She's going to wait a couple of hands before she enters the fray.
Now, Alex has got ace-3 of clubs. He's going to limp in there in late position. Jonas here is going to limp.
Now, that's a hand in this game I probably want to raise there just to buy myself the button.
We need to see seat 9's cards. Flop comes out Jack 5-3 here.
Well, Avo's open-ended. He's got backdoor diamonds as well.
Alex is going to bet out here on the 3. He bets 120. Jonas has ace-4, and he is going to call ace-4 offsuit for the wheel.
And Avo's definitely going to call at least.
And Avo also calls here with the, he's got deuce-4 of diamonds.
Yeah, open-ended straight draw here.
Yeah.
And
He
he hits
turns
it.
a 6, and there it is. He hits it. And he checks it.
Now, Jonas is open-ended.
And it gets checked around, Dave.
Oh, man.
And the river here is a deuce, and Jonas has got the 1 card straight, but Avo, and now they're going to chop it out.
Yeah.
Yep, they're going to chop it up here.
They both have the 6 high straight, obviously.
Avo's going to bet 400.
Now, neither player has the nuts, obviously. The nuts here is 4-7.
Alex picked up clubs there on the turn. He checked it, and he got a free card.
Hey, why not? Take the free card.
Jonas moves all in here, and I don't think it's that much more.
Now, Avo's going to call this.
Yeah, and they're going to chop this one up, I'm sure. No flush out there. It's 1,000 more. And Avo is just taking his time with this one, Dave, kind of trying to run it back in his head. The hand is still up there.
Yeah, that's the one thing about Avo is he really likes to think through all of his decisions.
So both players have a 4 here.
Yeah, both players have a
Jonas,
straight.
yeah, Jonas has
Ace
moved
4.
all in. And Avo is taking his time with this one there. And I'm sure that he's going to call here. I mean, he's getting about 2.5 to 1.
Well, it's one of those times where you don't like to put money in thinking you're at best chopping.
Yeah.
You know, most good players don't like to do that. And you see that there. And they're going to chop this up. Once again, we're live at the bike. And thank you for joining us. I'm David Tuckman here with Bart Hansen. You're watching No Limit Hold'em. Blinds are 20 and 40. Now, this is a $2,000 minimum buy-in game, but we've got a lot more money than that on the table. It's an unrestricted max. And I want to say that right now we probably have close to 35, 40 grand on the table. And by the end of the night, I would imagine it'll be up to 60 or 70. And I also want to congratulate our potato. The potato of Live at the Bike, Jay Siegel, Pojato on the 2+2 board. He shouldn't be listening because it's his 10-year anniversary.
Wow.
But maybe he'll watch us in a replay, and we want to congratulate him, Jay and Michelle Siegel. I guess it's Mr. and Mrs. Potato.
Button moves over here to Mike. His mom is in the big blind. Jonas is going to limp here with 6-8 of hearts. And Mike is going to... He's going to kind of a little mini raise, maybe. Makes it 100 to go with Queen 8, maybe just to kind of control the hand.
Well, it's not only controlling the hand, but he's got two tight players in the blind behind him. He's got his mom and Avo, and he can get rid of them by just putting that little mini raise in there.
Jonas calls, and he's dominated, and Jonas has checked blind here. And both players miss, and it goes check, check here on the flop. Well, Jonas picks up heart draw on the turn now.
Mike's still in the lead with Queen High.
And it goes check, check once again. And the river is a 7, and Queen High is good. And that's going to take it down.
Then I go all in.
Jonas rearranging the cards and said then he would go all in.
Yeah, well, that's a pretty... If it's Jack 7-5 flop with 2 hearts, it's a pretty big flop for him.
Yeah. Yeah. 3 outs. Yeah, I know.
And that's one of Mike's... I imagine that'll be Mike's strategy a little bit tonight. With two tight players in the blind when he's on the button, he can put that mini raise in, get rid of them, and get it heads up with, say, the one limper from early position.
And there's Paul, I guess, in seat number 1, so
yeah.
I guess we're at a loss for Adam. I mean,
yeah, well, we can only give the guy so long to show up.
Paul, he said he was going to be here, and he didn't show up.
Yeah. Well,
you know, maybe he went to the other casino and played over there and had some bad luck before the show.
I would imagine more likely is he probably just lost the money somewhere along the way.
Yeah.
The guy's such a fish, it's ridiculous.
Fish in the good sense of the word, right?
Yeah, I suppose so.
King 8-3 here on the flop. And Alan is going to bet 80 here.
Can a fish be a bad thing? I love sushi. Salmon, tuna.
Like I said, I give more credit to Adam's game than I think you do. I think sometimes he can be dangerous. I wouldn't call him fish. I think that's definitely going overboard. He would definitely be one of the weaker players at the table.
Well, he's action. I mean, hey, when the deck hits him in the face,
yeah.
I'll give him one thing. I have never won $19,000 in 3 hours playing poker. He has.
Yeah.
So he's clearly must be a better player than I am.
Butt moves over here to seat 4. Barry Woods in the big blind here. King Jack suited here for Mike. And he's going to raise it up to 160 here.
No, we're just messing with that. I love the guy. He's actually a really nice guy, too.
Barry's got big licks suited, and he's going to call out of position, and we're probably going to see this all night. Remember, Barry very reactive to Mike.
Problem is, though, if you notice, every single time they have a confrontation, I would imagine 80% of the time, Barry will be out of position against Mike.
Check, check on the flop, and Barry spikes a king now. Mike bets, and Barry's out of there.
Yeah.
And again, we talk about how hard that is to play a hand like that against a guy who you know have no idea. Usually, when you're up against normal competition, you can put a range of hands on his raise depending on what position he is in at the table. With Mike in late position, it can be any two. So if you're going to hit that flop big, you've got to get real lucky that you're going to get paid out by Mike in some way.
Mike could care less. When he is in the cutoff seat and on the button,
right.
I don't even know if he looks at his 2 cards. He's just playing the position. That's all he's doing. Now, Trish has moved over to seat 1. Paul has taken her seat in seat 4. I think Trish doesn't want to be raised out of a blind every single time, which she realizes is probably going to happen. And Barry's going to have to realize in this game, and I really like Barry, I love his game, but he's going to have to realize that he's going to have to stop playing anybody out of position. That's a losing strategy in No Limit Hold'em, playing out of position.
Checked around here. We need to see Paul's hand.
You're just still getting comfy.
Limped around. And we've got 7-way action. It's a $280 pot here. Queen 9-10 with a couple of hearts. And Paul here is going to bet here. In late position with 8-9. He's going to bet 300.
Why not? Everybody else checked to him. He's got a pair. He's got a backdoor heart draw.
Now, is Trish going to put herself on a top spot by check calling? No, she's not even going to get involved.
Not against Paul. I don't think so.
But Mike has a flush draw and a gut shot to the 8, and he just makes a check call here.
He can't be looking for an 8, can he?
Turns a 10.
Trish would have made trip 10.
And it goes check, check here. And the river here's a queen.
And the board is going to play.
And the board is going to play here. Mike bets on a bluff, and Paul mucks.
Yeah, the board actually plays there.
Paul gets counterfeited here, and Mike takes it down. And I actually talked about this last week. A little bit of a tell on Mike is he seems to show his bluffs all the time and not show hands that he thinks is strong.
Right.
We can notice that.
And the best thing you can do, and it's a great pickup by you, Bart, the best thing you can do is obviously somebody goes, well, a lot of good that does me after the hand. Well, okay, now you can start, if you're paying attention, and you start replaying that hand in your head, and you go, well, wait a second. He showed me that bluff. Now I can replay the whole hand and think of how that kind of started out, how he played the bluff. And then later on, when he doesn't show me the hand, I'm going to assume he had a big hand. And I can replay that one. And were there any differences between the bluff and the made hand? You start picking up on tells that way.
Who's drawing Stone Cold Dead on the turn? Only card of the deck. You just gotta put your chips in the pot.
I think you're right. You know what? I want to apologize to Adam. That probably was a little bit harsh.
Get a 2-outer.
He's a hell of a guy.
No, I'm talking about against you. I king queen, he had king deuce.
He's just one of those guys, and I got to say this. It's one of those guys that he knows what he's doing. He really does. He has a full grasp of how to play poker. He's watched the World Poker Tour a few too many times. And he's just he's got a little bit too much, a little bit too much Gus Hansen, a little bit too much Mike in him. And if he would just take a little bit out of that out of him, and he would add a little bit of discipline and a little bit of patience and just mix them together, he'd be extremely dangerous. And it's funny, now Mike's raised it up to 160. He's got a real hand. He's got pocket kings. And he's going to get called in one spot. Alex calls him heads up on the button, and Mike bets blind. Now, Mike will bet blind with queen high.
Do you ever miss a flop?
Mike will bet blind with ace high. Mike will bet blind with pocket kings. And it goes bet call. I can't believe Alex actually called him there. And Alex has made trip deuces. Look at this. On the turn, Alex makes trip deuces. Alex took one off there, kind of floated one. He took one off with a $300 bet, and now he's made trip deuces. And I don't see how Mike can put Alex on a deuce here. I really don't. I think Mike's going to check raise him here.
Wow, and Alex bets. And
there
Mike
it
check
is.
raises him. And Alex is going to go in there with the deuce. Kings are no good here. Here we go to the river.
And Mike has trapped himself,
Wow.
and Alex wins a huge pot. Doubles up there.
Wow.
Yeah, now, the play was Mike had raised to 160 pre-flop. Alex decided to call him on the button with ace-deuce suited. Now, on the button, I don't mind calling with a hand as weak as ace-deuce. Some people go, well, it's a dominated ace.
Yep.
But you're in position against Mike, and position is huge when you're playing a player like Mike. He flops the deuce. Now, Mike had bet blind on the flop. $300.
Ace king?
Mike decided to call, Alex decided to call that, figuring, you know what, one pair might just be good against Mike. Then he spikes the other deuce, and Mike goes, you know what, there's no way this guy's got a deuce. He's got a queen. I'm going to trap him. He checks it. Alex bets. He check raises all in, and Alex easily calls the trip deuces. Doubles through there.
Plays that every time he beats me. I don't get it.
Wow.
Real
Unbelievable.
exciting.
Unbelievable right there.
Bottom pair.
Anyways, I was finishing up about Adam. I was going to say, if you look at Mike's game maybe a year ago, that's kind of where Mike is. That's kind of where Adam is. And the one thing I will say for Adam is the potential of a player like that is fearless with his money and aggressive, the potential of a player like that far exceeds the potential of somebody like a Dr. Beebe, for example. So I will give that to Adam.
Mike straddled here, and both players in the blinds complete. Trish and Jonas here. Well, Mike's got top pair, but look at this. Jonas has outkicked him. Let's see what Jonas is going to do. And Mike might obviously be tilting, and he gets checked over to Trish. And she's going to throw a little bet in there.
She bets with nothing.
Mike calls, and now...
Wait, it doesn't get checked over to Trish. Trish is in first position.
No, Jonas is in first position, isn't he?
Oh, he is. The Mo's on the button?
Yeah. And Jonas is going to check raise all in here. Jonas checks. Trish bets. I thought this might be a little peculiar because he checked it to Trish, and Trish bet. Mike's on the alarms, and Jonas check raises all in.
Now, is Mike going to call this now? Jonas could make this move with King-Queen. He could make this move with, say, Queen-9. A lot of things, you try to think of what Jonas would make this move with. There are a lot of hands you'd make this move with. Now, if Jonas had King-Queen, Mike is actually an underdog.
Nope.
You know, maybe 50-50. If he's got Queen-9, he's a slight favorite. I mean, I got to tell you, I'm surprised he's calling this year. Mike's in bad shape.
Yeah, he's in real bad shape.
And unless he gets lucky, he's going to double up a second opponent here.
And they're just going to run it once here. They're just going to run it once. Turns of 4. Mike needs a deuce here. And the river's an ace.
Yeah, and Jonas doubles up through him.
Yeah.
Queen Jack, huh? That's a strong hand, too.
Wow.
If you raise her, I fold. My mom,
And we've actually handed Mike the article that was written about Barry. I didn't mean to hand it to him when he was steaming here, but
yeah, he just doubled up 2 players. Yeah.
I was trying to get a little bit
timing is
timing.
everything, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Butt moves
Now,
over here
I'm
to
only
seat 9.
curious. Barry and Mike, do they genuinely not like each other?
I don't know, maybe not.
I mean, I think it used to be kind of a fun jabbing thing, right?
Yeah.
But at this point, do they genuinely not like each other?
Oh, man, I just can't get enough of this guy.
Mike is in the big one. Slipped around 3 ways here. And now Paul's giving Barry some shit over there at the table.
Well, I mean, Barry's such a wise ass. He kind of, you know, I mean, we give him shit. I'm good friends with Barry, and I give him shit. He gives me shit. But there's a line that Mike kind of crosses.
Checked around here on the flop, turns to 3.
Mike's made a pair. Mike has 2 pair, 9s and 3s.
Any kind of anything.
And he's going to bet. He bets 80 here.
Anything's good. Probably hit it on the turn.
And unlike recent weeks, the last few weeks, Mike's really been dominating the competition, and he's been putting his money with the best of it and getting sucked out on. Here tonight, he's putting the majority of the money with the worst of it.
Butt moves over here to Trish. Email here, a couple emails. Jeff Klein regarding a hand, and I will review that hand, Jeff, for tomorrow's blog. I haven't gotten a chance to read it yet.
Oh, I see. Now, see, it's gotten to the point with Jeff Klein where I don't even exist. The email from Jeff Klein, Bart, did you get the PM I sent you about my Queen hand? Right. Your thoughts? What, I'm not even here anymore, Jeff?
He did PM.
I don't exist?
Sean Parmley asking about small pairs in early position. Should I limp in with deuces through 7s?
Kind of depends on the game.
Yeah.
It really depends on the game. I mean, if you're going to limp in and there's always going to be a raiser like Corporation Mike in the game, you might not want to because you won't be able to see the flop. Depends how much money you have, will you get paid off, all sorts of things.
Mike continues to read that little article by Baron Vanger Toth about Barry. Now, Dr. Allen has raised it up here with ace-king. I think he made it about, what, 125?
Yeah, Jonas has got top pair here. He's got 2 pairs, 6s and 3s with an 8 kicker. And apparently the pair game, Trish has 3s.
Now, Mike has got, he's got a straight draw to the 4. Abel's got a straight draw to the 5. And let's see if Dr. Allen can make this continuation bet here. It's total rags on board.
Yeah.
And Jonas is in position, so you wonder if Jonas is going to keep playing here. I would be very surprised if Jonas just folds here, from what I've seen of him in the last few weeks.
Yeah, usually he'll call one time or he'll raise one time, kind of see where he's at. It's often very difficult for an opponent to fire twice with nothing.
Dr. Allen here has bet 380 with ace-king. Jonas is really trying to, you know, is that what you're trying to hit with 8-6 suited here? 6-3-3. Normally it's not.
Yeah, definitely not. And Jonas knows that. But at the same time, he's trying to say, does Dr. Allen have ace-king, ace-queen here? or does he have a pocket pair? You know, not much he can beat, and he's going to throw it away.
And look at this, though. Mike is going to check raise here with the draw. He's going to check raise, sensing out some possible weakness.
Yeah, and Mike's, with the draw, it's always kind of a loose statement with Mike. The draw, like, the 4?
And he has raised it another 800 here. He has raised it another 800. It's back over to Dr. Allen. Avo is now out of the hand.
Now, and I really think Dr. Allen's in you know, he's in a couple of spots here. He is in position on Mike. Problem is he only has ace-king high. This is really the hand you want to go to war with against Mike.
Pot is about 1,900. 800 to call, and Mike says he has a 3.
And I don't believe Mike has a 3. I really don't. I think the new Mike, I think he bets it. I think he bets the 3 because he doesn't want to drive out his opponents.
He shows 1 card there.
I still believe it. You still everybody in my head last night.
Quick question, are we going to have a satellite tonight from Billy? Well, no.
Yeah, 3 hands over there. Why do you have to make trouble? This guy, man. Gives me bad beats, now he has to make
Again,
trouble.
send your hands in for tomorrow's video vlog, hands for blog in the subject.
Tell you the truth, man. You're on my list.
But moves over here to Mike.
My friend too, but I sure want to bust you. And I should have busted you. At least it's...
And Mike is going to raise.
90.
He's going to make it 90 with queen 4 of diamonds.
Once again, Mike raising on the button.
And Paul is going to call him here with 9-5 suited. Paul is really, he's really loosened up here. And Alex is going to come in for queen 10 of spades.
Paul's like a big chameleon. Changes his colors all the time.
Now Mike is dominated here. Wow, and Mike flops trip 4s. Unbelievable.
And that's the one advantage of Mike playing these. You really never know what he has.
And look at this, Paul's going to come out and he's going to bet with the 5 here.
Why not?
He bets 220. Let's see if Mike raises him right away. He might min raise. He's good enough to do that now.
Now this is the funny thing is, Mike could have a 4. He also could just make a move, and Paul knows that.
Turns at 10. Mike
And
just called.
Paul is in really bad shape. He needs a 5 and only a 5 to win this hand.
Paul checks, and Mike bets 500. This really puts Paul in a tough spot because Mike might do this
With air.
with anything. And look at this, Paul calls, and the river here is an 8. This pot is almost $2,000.
And I got to tell you, if you're Paul, if you're Mike, you got to put a nice size value bet here.
And Paul moves all in here.
And
6-7 got there, huh?
Paul moves all in.
How are you going to call me with 6-7?
He moves all in for about
I
$1,200.
don't think Mike can get away from this though.
And Mike calls.
Yeah, I don't.
And the 4 is good, and he'd ship it to Mike.
You know, you want to give Mike credit, obviously, for at least acknowledging the fact that Paul could have 6-7 there. That's a hand that he would call a raise with, and that's how he probably would play it. He probably would bet right into Mike. But with trip 4s, Mike's just not going to go anywhere. Now, the only questionable thing about Paul's bet there is, by Paul betting a 5 there, can he get called? Is there any value to that bet? And I love Paul's game. I mean, there's really nobody at this table that I respect more than Paul. I mean, I have a lot of respect for his game. But obviously, we're not gonna, we're not gonna tiptoe around. I'm just wondering, that flop there, it's 5-4-4, right? 5-4-4, 10-8. Is there any value to betting the 5 on the river? Can you get a worse hand to call you?
Well, it's an interesting question. If you think you have the best hand, you might check, call, and make Mike bluff off the money.
Well, that's the whole point.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're comfortable putting the money in anyway,
Yeah.
you're going to get called by a better hand. Probably. I mean, maybe you get a 10 off of it, but I don't even think you get that off.
Especially against Mike.
Yeah.
5-way action here, or 6-way action limped around. 10-8, 5 with a couple of diamonds. Now, Dr. Allen, he's got bottom pair and a flush draw, and he's going to lead out.
I mean, how about his flush draw is absolute garbage because Trish has got the ace deuce.
And look at this, a quick call by Alex with top pair. But you're right, Trish is drawing to the nuts here.
Now, that's the problem with a hand like Queen 10 in early position.
And she's going to raise. She's going to make it 400, and I don't know if Dr. Allen's going to go anywhere here. He might even push over the top.
And if he does, Well, if he does, he'll probably take it down. Trish is, she's got overcard with a flush draw.
Well, it's going to depend on pot odds. Paul has king 7 of spades here. I don't even know if he's going to fold.
Yeah, now he's rebought. You see those little green chips? Those are $1,000 chips. He's probably got 4 or 5 of them in front of him.
And is Allen going to re-push here? Dr. Allen? Bottom pair flush draw. He's kind of on the short stack. It wouldn't necessarily be a bad play.
No, he's got backdoor straight draw, too, because he's got the 9 as well. So if a jack, a 7, a queen, or a 6 were to come off, he would have a gut shot or a open-ended a gut shot straight draw on the turn.
$800 pot, 400 to call. Could you just call here, kind of on the short stack? Or do you like a push better?
Maybe you call and then you push on the turn, you mean? Something like that?
He's going to push now.
Okay. Not a bad play at all.
He's going to push now.
Actually, he's raising, right?
Yeah, he just came back a little bit with the raise.
And Trish can call.
And Trish is going to move all in. She's going to move all in over the top, and I think all the money's going in now.
And this is going to be a bit 50-50 once we get ready. There it is. Actually, Dr. Allen's a favorite because he's got a pair.
Yeah.
Trish needs an ace or a diamond.
So let's see how many times they're going to run. This is going to be over a $4,000 pot here.
Yeah. Dr. Allen's a 3-2 favorite. He's getting his money in with the best of it.
Going to run it 3 times here. No, keep
and
going,
there's a 6. Now, Dr. Allen has also picked up a straight draw.
River's a jack. He wins that one. He needs to dodge diamonds. A deuce. Now Trish can pick up an ace, a deuce, or a diamond here.
Not going to happen.
Allen wins that one. He makes 2 pair. Again, a diamond or an ace here for Trish.
And still now diamond only. He's got trip 5s.
Yep. Wow. And he wins all 3.
And he had the best hand.
Obviously, a couple more diamonds. She's only got 7 outs there in the hand now.
And that's the part of Dr. Allen's game I like as well. You'll see him. He sits there. He's very patient. He's very disciplined, especially in this game, not like the 3-5 game that we saw him donking away his chips. And you wonder, but you know that Dr. Allen is not scared to push when he feels like he has the best hand or at least a big enough draw to push with. And in this case, he was in great shape.
Hey, Mike, last night, similar situation, said...
Now, if you're not sure what running the river more than once means, you can go to liveatthebike.com, go to the left-hand side, as seen on Live at the Bike. We kind of explain all the terminology that Bart and I use on the show.
Post here by good old Surfing Illini says, Tuckman gets more arrogant by the week. So annoying. You're not God, man. Relax when ripping on people. Stop backtracking.
120.
Mike is going to raise it up here to 120 with 8-9 offsuit. And he's going to take it down.
The ongoing war between Surfer Lana and Jeff Klein and me continues. I actually have a lot of respect for Jeff. He's a good guy. Is he still in Vegas?
Yeah.
He is. Okay, good. Obviously, Jeff Klein, Surfer Lana over in 2+2, taking some time off and trying the poker scene down in Vegas.
Button moves here to seat 5. Alex has got the big blind here.
What are your numbers?
I have Jack 7. Doesn't matter. He can't do it.
And Mike is just going to limp in here with what sometimes is a raising hand for him, 9-10 of diamonds in late position.
After this flop, I'm gonna top.
Now, interestingly enough, our website, we finally renamed that as seen on Live at the Bikes to Poker Terminology.
Oh, great.
Makes sense.
Limps around here 5 ways. Mike does not want to see diamonds, and he's got a diamond draw. Dr. Allen has flopped trip 6s. Alex has got a higher diamond draw than Mike.
Mike is virtually drawing dead, and you can see it. He's got 1% chance of winning this hand.
Now, Dr. Allen's on the button here, and Mike is going to come out and bet. He's going to bet 110. Let's see how Dr. Allen's going to play it. If he smooth calls, you wonder if Alex is going to come in behind him.
There's no straight draw out there. You're only scared of diamonds. And you have trips now, so obviously the 8 of diamonds is no good. There just aren't that many diamonds left. You think about it, there's 6 diamonds out there, plus the 8 of diamonds is no good. There's only 6 good diamonds.
He's going to raise it up here a little bit. He's going to raise it up to 300. And now, Alex, is he going to call a bet and a raise out of position on a paired board here with a king-high flush draw?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you're in a danger hit if Dr. Allen's got trips, or if one of these players has the ace-high flush draw. You could be drawing dead yourself.
Well, Alex gets out, and Mike calls. So now, if Mike hits diamonds, he's good as long as it's not an 8. Well, the turn's a 9. Mike now picks up top pair and diamonds.
And this could be a check raise situation for Mike. We'll see how it plays out.
Pot is about $1,000 here. About 900. And Dr. Allen is going to bet 600, and Mike makes a quick check call here. This pot is now over $2,000.
Eight of diamonds would be the action card.
River's a 3.
And I think you bet this. I really do. I mean, unless Mike had 4-5,
absolutely,
you're great here, and I like the bet.
He's going to bet, looks like 800 here.
And does Mike pay off with a 9?
He's going to bet 800 here. And Mike makes the call, and Dr. Allen's going to take down almost a $4,000 bet, pot there. What really would have been a bad beat, Dave, is Mike could have backed into another 9 and 1.
Yeah, that would have been
horrendous.
Yeah, it really would have.
So Dr. Allen quickly on fire here.
Yeah, he really is. And you got to like the way he's playing it so far. He's playing it aggressive. Obviously not intimidated by everybody else's chip stack.
Mike, do you want to pay your collection? Yeah. Okay.
So you're out, Jonathan.
Button moves over to seat number 6. Jonas is under the gun. He's first to act.
Yeah, that's pretty weak, Jonas.
Come on, you got to say it now.
The forehand is a lot
We can
funner.
talk here, right? Did you win?
I think Jonas is getting out of the pair game. They're giving him a little shit on the table. Pocket 6s here in the big blind for Mo. Paul's got ace-king. And Alex has ace-queen, Dave, in the small blind. And Mike is going to open raise here with jack-10 of spades. He's going to make it 120. Now, is Paul going to repop it? He does.
Yeah, and it's funny, you know, when Mike is really on his game, he's not raising an early position like here with jack-10. He's really limping in with that hand.
Well, he is in somewhat mid-position here.
Right.
Alex quickly gets away from ace-queen.
And Mike's going to call him out of position with jack-10 of spades. And that's a tough hand to play out of position.
And this pot is about $1,000 here. Heads up. Wow, spades and overcards here for Mike. He checks. And Paul's going to make the continuation bet. And let's see if we're going to hear from Mike here with a check raise.
And Mike is a small favorite.
Now, you might put Paul in an overpair, so there might be not, you don't want a check raise here.
Is there much value to check raising? Well, I guess you can get him off the better hand right now in the sense of ace-king. The problem with check raising, though, is Paul's pretty deep, and if you miss on the turn, then what do you do?
And Mike is going to raise. He is going to raise it up. Looks like another 1,000. And Paul quickly releases.
Yeah. Now, obviously, Paul gets rid of that. And I always question, though, if Paul had kings or aces there, there's nothing, you really get no information from that raise because Paul can easily just smooth call it, see the turn, and if it's not a spade, what does Mike do?
And we did see the offsuit king on the turn in the rabbit cam, Dave. So if it was just a check call, Paul definitely would have continued with the hand.
Right, and what does Mike do? That's the whole question. It really puts you in a tough spot. Button moves over to seat number 7. Jonas in the big blind. Corporation Mom in the under the gun. She's not going to play it.
I mean, we're in consensus that Paul's going to at least call the flop with any overpair there, even as small as 9s or 10s.
Definitely. But there's not much value to him raising, is there?
Right.
Maybe he raises. Who knows? Obviously, he can play it different ways. But
limped around here 6 ways. So it's a $240 pot. Again, 20-40 uncapped, no limit we're playing here tonight. Jonas has picked up a gut shot Broadway straight draw here. Ace-queen deuce with a couple of hearts.
Barry's got the best hand. Second pair, no kicker.
He's going to bet 200 here. Barry definitely has tightened up his game a bit. I mean, earlier on in the history of the show, we've seen Barry limp in with that hand from up front, which is obviously just garbage. Well, and Mike is going to call with a gut shot wheel draw to the 3, but we can see that 2 of the 3s were dead Navo's hand, the pocket 3s.
What a bad call on there. That was an awful call.
But Mike's going to need to get real lucky here. And the turn's a 3, Dave, but it's a heart. Unbelievable. A 2-outer. And it goes check, check. And the river now is a 4th heart. Wow. Absolutely sick run of cards there.
And that's the power of position. If Mike is in position there, he bets the turn, and Barry might pay him off a little bit. But because Barry's in position, Barry loses no money on it. We talk about position all the time, where you're losing hands, you will lose less in position, and your winning hands, you will win more in position.
And we always talk about the fact as well that Mike is going, obviously Mike is probably not just necessarily playing his draw. Maybe he thinks he's going to outplay Barry. But there's a 2 flush out on board. Now he hits what is a 4-outer, but it's not the 3 he wants. It's a heart, and neither player plays it hard.
Exactly. You don't even know exactly.
Because the heart scared Barry. If it was an offsuit 3, Barry might bet again.
And Barry only had second pair with a 7 kicker as well. I mean, that's one of the things. You hit your 2-outer, but there's no assurance your opponent has when you hit your 2-outer, you want your opponent to have like top 2 pair.
Right.
You know what I mean? You want Barry to have ace queen there.
Whoa. Sorry.
Now, once again, this is a collection pot.
Oh, you're so sweet.
No, he straddled. Now he's coming back to him for an option.
Could I order 22? Could I get a...
300.
And Mike is going to raise it up here to 300 out of the straddle spot with ace-5 of diamonds.
And Alex is going to fight. You know what? Alex says, you know what? Last time my ace rag suited worked. I'm going to try it again. And this time he's got Mike dominated.
2 players.
We're heads up here.
And once again, Alex is playing Mike in position.
Wow, Mike's hit top pair. He's not going anywhere. He's got a gut shot wheel draw. So does Alex.
Yeah, Mike's obviously in command of this hand.
He bets 300 here. Remember, these two have a history because of the suck out. And Alex is going to min raise him. And Mike immediately calls. So Alex with the min raise here on the flop. The turn's a deuce. Alex picks up the nut flush draw now.
And I got to tell you, if Mike checks it, Alex is going to take the card, isn't he?
Well, let's see. Looks like he's going to bet again here.
Remember last time, Alex, he check raised you.
Kind of like a tournament, huh? Nice small pot.
He bets 600 and Mike check calls once again. And this pot is $3,000 to the river.
I mean, if you're only going to bet 600 on the turn, I'm not sure what the value of that bet is.
And the river here is a 4.
Yeah, and the 5 is still going to play. Mike has 2 pair. Obviously, his 2 pair are better than Alex's 2 pair.
Yep, and it goes check, check on the river. Alex, I guess he feels he doesn't need to bet there with the ace high. And Mike
Or he
takes it
feels
down.
he can't get Mike off the hand. Now, I'm not sure what the bet of on the turn. I'm not sure what the value of that bet is. The pot is already $1,800, and you're going to bet 600 into it. Now, if Mike has anything, he's going to call you. What is $600 going to do? Actually, Mike might raise you or call you with nothing to take a shot at it.
You get lucky every time, huh?
Big blind over here in Mike's hand in seat 2. Now, Mo's got 9-10 of diamonds, and he's going to raise it up here in the cutoff. 140 to go.
100 more?
And Mike is going to give him action here, I believe, with Jack-8 offsuit. Nava's got pocket 3s, and he comes in.
And Avo, obviously, that's one of the few hands Avo will play out of position is a pocket pair. Those hands kind of play themselves. If you hit a pair, if you hit your set, well, you're usually good.
Dr. Allen comes in with pocket 6s. And look at this, Mike's hit top pair, and Mo has second pair and a straight draw. It gets checked over here to Mo, and he's going to bet 400.
Yeah, both Mo and Mike want the other player to hit 2 pair.
Mike calls. And Mike is ahead here. Both players have pairs and straight draws. Dr. Allen is out of the hand. And here we go to the turn. And the turn is a 9, and Mike has the straight.
Now, it is the third heart.
And Mo takes a card with 2 pair. And the river's a 4.
And if you're Mike, I think you've got to bet this. I think you bet it for value. Mo obviously is capable of playing it pretty cagey. He can check a flush on the turn.
Mike bets looks like 800 here on the river, and Mo's thinking about it here.
I like the bet. I mean, you've got to realize that even if Mo had, let's say Mo actually has king-queen here, but they're not hearts, he can't really raise, can he?
And the pot right now is about 1,600, 800 a call. 2-1 here for Mo.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost asking for a call. I think Mike knows he has the best hands.
Jack beat you, look.
3 hearts out there, 1-liner to a straight with an 8. I mean, Mo has a bluff catcher here, even though it's 2 pair.
Now, the funny thing is Mike is showing him the jack, though. So now you start thinking, wait a second, you have a jack. Wait a second, maybe I can beat you then. Obviously, he can beat queen jack.
Well, you can't beat jacks up, though, either.
He can't beat jacks up, right. He can beat ace jack.
You don't have it.
Let's listen in here.
Side bet says I have ace jack.
You don't have it.
Side bet.
You have Jack 8.
Wow.
Jack 4.
Look at this. Mo says he has Jack 8 or Jack 4.
Well, he can't beat jack 8 or jack 4. Let's see if he listens to his instincts.
And he makes the call. And Jack 8 is the winner here.
Okay, explain this to me like I'm a complete idiot. How do you put somebody on a hand, and you put him on one of 2 hands, neither of which you can beat, and you still pay him off? I mean, Mo is so smart, he actually knows what the guy has, calls it, and still pays him off.
Well, I think maybe he thought, you know, obviously, could Mike... Well, what if you think that Mike has one of those 2 hands 50% of the time, and then the other time he's bluffing?
Yes, I understand what you're saying, but Mo actually said he has that.
Let's
Go
take
ahead.
a look at a first chip count of the night here. We got 55,000 on the table. Mike is in the lead here with 12,000. Jonas on the short stack with 2,400. Let's take a look at the differences here.
Yeah, Mike up a quick 7,000.
All down a quick $4,000.
Yeah. Trish down 2, Barry down 1,500.
Dr. Allen having a good night so far. Jonas is going to bring this one in with jacks here. He's going to take it down pre-flop. I'm just saying, Mo says, well, yeah, you could have Jack 8, Jack 4. That might be your range. Now, if that range, those two hands, don't combine over 50%, then I think it's a call. Because then the other 50% of the time you're going to win.
The only thing is
with
with Mike
9-10.
showed him the jack. So you start thinking of all the hands you can beat now. Once he shows you the jack, you go, well, I can beat Queen Jack, I can beat King Jack. He said he definitely doesn't have Ace Jack.
Yeah.
Okay. You can beat Jack 7. Oh, no, Jack 7 was actually 2 pair as well, right?
Yeah, it was.
So you can beat Jack 6
And then you
Jack
start
5.
thinking, would Mike just bet a jack there at the end?
You wonder, right? What are you trying to get Mo off of?
Email here from Emmett Pulscamp. Thank you for the kind words. Button's over here in Mike's hand, and he's got Ace King offsuit, and so does Avo in the small blind. And Mike is going to raise it.
Power position. I've been talking to Jonas a lot. We've had a lot of conversations over the last week. And we were talking about if there was one word you could teach a new player, just one word. Let's say you just had one word you could say to somebody about poker, you'd say position.
Now, Avo smooth calls. Barry also smooth calls, and that brings Mo in here. We got over $1,000 pot. Well, Barry's good here with 8s. Is he going to lead out here? He's pretty good about this.
Yep.
He checked, and Mike takes the card.
It's not one of those.
Well, the turn's a 9, and now I think you definitely lead out here.
Yeah,
with 8s.
if you're Barry, I think you're good. Now there are players that are pretty clever, and will even check queens,
And he
kings,
checked it
aces.
again. He checked it again, and now Mo is going to move all in with Queen Jack.
And you know what? I think Barry calls this. I really do. I think if it folds around, although Mike might call, we'll see.
Well, if Mike calls, you wonder if Barry can overcall.
Yeah, I don't think Barry can overcall, but I would not be surprised if Mike called this at all.
$1,550 bet into a pot that was about $1,000, so it's a $2,500 pot. $1,550 for Mike to call here.
There's a chance Mo could be doing this with pocket 3s. Mo would make this play with pocket 3s, pocket deuces, pocket 5s. I don't think you can call with ace-king here, and he's not going to call, but I think Barry should call, and I think he will.
See if Barry can correctly play the hand back in his head here.
I just don't think Mo has 10s or higher. I really don't. I don't buy it.
Do you think that Mo would have slow... I'm just saying what your beat here. Do you think Mo would have slow played a set here? Would he have played 8-9 in this manner, too?
You know what? If Mo's got a set, here it is, Let me just chop him off and give him to you, okay? I mean, I can't be scared of the nuts all the time.
Barry's going to get rid of it, and the ploy works there by Mo.
Nice bet by Mo, but I'm sorry, that's a terrible laydown. And you know what, though? In hindsight, I will say the jack came on the river. So if Barry makes that call, he does get a bad beat. I just don't see how you piece together and you go, Mo's got a better hand than pocket 8s here. I know it's easy for us. We're in the booth. Maybe it's the new me, the new arrogant David Tuckman, but I've always been arrogant.
I mean, I don't think it's a terrible laydown. I have to disagree with you.
Really? Against Mo in that case? You really put Mo on a bigger hand than him?
I probably would call there.
Okay, that's what I mean.
But I don't think it's a horrifically bad laydown.
No, it's not horrific. I mean, I'm not saying 100% of the time if you call that, you're going to be ahead. But like you said, you would probably call.
I would.
You?
I would.
Oh, amazed Barry laid it down.
Well, I'm not going to play it as a check call there. That's the thing. I'm not going to get myself in that. I'm going to either lead on the flop or lead on the turn. Now, Barry played it so passively. Sometimes we talk about when you sometimes give up on a hand, you just give up with it. Now, his hand's so strong there, it's almost too good to give up on.
I thought he was actually checking the turn to induce a bluff for a second.
I'm sure if Mike bets, he's going to call.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Four-way action here, limped around. 10-9 deuce. Well, Jonas here has got king 10 suited, and he's going to bet out. He's going to bet 130. With top pair, he's got the best hand.
Thank you for the emails. Keep sending them in. You can email us at live@thebike.com.
Look at this. Mike is called here with king 8, probably setting up a play here. Turns a 3.
And Jonas isn't going to go anywhere. Jonas might even induce a bluff. We'll see what happens here.
He's going to bet again.
All right.
And maybe Mike was trying to, obviously he likes to represent clubs. There's a lot of other things he could represent. Say if a king came, which of course he has in his hand, maybe queen jack, or obviously, you know, some sort of straight if
Definitely.
eight comes.
Mike's very good at that.
Yeah, we had an email here from Jared Pondalik, who emailed us yesterday. And of course, it was a little bit of a hectic day yesterday. And to sum up his email from yesterday, we were talking about the power of Ace King and how it's obviously overrated. And in high stakes poker, Dave, in season 2, Michael Mizrachi committed a lot of chips. He raised it pre-flop with Ace Queen. And I think that he bet on the flop as a continuation of that. I think Jared's question was, wasn't he afraid of getting run into by Ace King? But from what I remember from watching the show, he was the raiser and he just bet the flop with an ace on it.
Right.
So it's not like he's calling off his money.
And you know what? Obviously, you've got to be mindful of somebody having a bigger ace than you and you only have ace queen. But you can't play poker scared. You just can't. I mean, you can't always be scared of running into the nuts.
Yeah, well, actually, I said I should.
A bunch of people on the 2+2 post are wondering why don't we use $20 chips in this game? Now we actually do have $20 chips, and they're kind of cool looking. But once again, I think it was answered correctly. I think the $10 chips promote more action. There are more chips in the pot. It looks bigger. It's also a little easier to make small bets.
You know, it's interesting. Paul's got an ace here. He's going to bet on the button. Barry was in the blind with 4-5. He just folded. I mean, what if it gets checked around in 3 comps? I mean, he had a draw on the flop. Would you just fold there? He just threw his hand away.
Yeah, it's surprising.
Paul takes it down.
As if there was no card to come help you.
Right.
Especially when you've got a gut shot to the nuts. So Tom himself actually just listens to the circuit with us. Thank you very much. If you want to check out the circuit, you can go to liveatthebike.com. You can actually click on, I think it's your bio, right?
Yes.
And at the bottom of it, it's a little link to the circuit that Bart and
Well,
I
actually,
did.
it's at the bottom of your bio.
Oh, is it?
Circuit.
Okay.
The Poker Rounder show is at the bottom of my bio.
Okay.
That too is kind of small. You know, it's exactly the same thing.
And I see Surfer Line. I says, Tuckman, in my small world, you only exist when you're nice to the fish. And I'm always nice to the fish. I love the fish. Without the fish, we can't live.
160.
Abo's going to, put in a timed raise. He hasn't raised pre-flop all night. He's going to raise with 6-7 offsuit here. Obviously, when Mike is out of the hand. Paul calls him with 6s. And Alex is in there with Jack-9 offsuit from the blind. And the flop comes King-7-4 here. So Paul's got 6s here. Abo is going to bet 6-7. He actually flopped the best hand with middle pair. And he's going to take it down. Already done with the first hour of the show here. We're playing 20-40, no limit hold'em. Uncapped buy-in. Brown chips are $10 chips. Whites are hundreds. Big gray ones are thousands. See if we can see maybe if Abo have any 1,000 chips over there? Doesn't look like it. All those whites.
Yeah, he likes to have a lot of them.
Yeah, Paul actually does right next door to him.
All right.
Got those
Nice picture
big
of those
gray
chips.
chips. There they are. Right by
Those
his
are
hand.
$1,000 chips.
Yeah.
Occasionally you see big $5,000 chips. I know sometimes Barry likes to have those big 5,000 purple chips.
Abo's going to raise it here again. 9-7 of hearts.
160.
Actually, 10-7 of hearts. 160. No, it is 9-7 of hearts. Yep. Yeah, Barry's got ace-king, and he's going to make a smooth call here. He's going to bring Alex in here with Jack-10 of spades. We're going to see this 3 ways.
I got 3 players in the pot.
But a $500 pot. Queen, 4, queen. Everybody's missed here. Will Abo make the continuation bet? Sometimes talk about Abo likes to make that raise to buy himself the button. When he doesn't have it, he might shut down.
Definitely. Abo's also keenly aware of the importance of position. But you know what? When a board comes out paired like that, the odds of it helping anybody are very slim. You got to realize, another reason that you like to bluff into a board like that is because there's no draw whatsoever. If somebody calls you, you have a pretty good idea of where they're at. They either have a pair in their hand, they've got a queen, or they're calling you with a 4, which is obviously very tough to do.
Abo makes a $380 continuation bet here. Barry folds. And is Alex going to make a move here?
And it's funny, and you see Alex trying to make moves against these guys, and I just don't see the point of it. I mean, obviously there are always opportunities to make moves, but aren't there enough players in this game that are going to give you the action when you make your hands?
Well, not this time.
Yeah, he's not going to get involved.
Still looking for hands for, get those hands in by the end of tonight. Hand for blog, for tomorrow's video blog. I know that the archives are up for this week. button moves over here to seat 7.
And if you're not quite sure what exactly we're looking for, you can check out our video blog. Go to liveatthebike.com, left-hand side video blog. Check it out after the show. And basically, we analyze and dissect your hand and our hands.
Paul's going to raise it up here to 230 with 6-4 of hearts. He's really opened his game up over the last few weeks.
Yeah.
And again, you wonder if he's advertising a little bit by being on the show. I haven't necessarily played with him off of the show in a while since kind of this new age of Paul has come along in the last few weeks.
He obviously knows what he's doing. He's been around a long time.
Email here from Tom Faber. Says, hey guys, so as I see it, pot odds is only valuable to me if I'm chasing or I think I'm behind, right?
Not necessarily. You've got to realize that if you are ahead and somebody else is chasing you, you've got to realize what pot odds they have or what implied odds they have to chase you. And if you give them the right odds, the correct odds to draw for their flush or their straight, well, then they are correct in calling you. And if they suck out on you, you really have nobody to blame but yourself.
I'm going to add more on that after this hand. Barry's raised it with ace-king, and Mike is in there with 9-4 of hearts, heads up. And Mike outflops him. See how he's going to play it.
But this hand is not. I mean, Barry, once again, is raised in position.
With ace-king.
And Mike has called him out of position.
And Barry, he's usually good at continuation bets here. He's going to bet 300. And Mike check raises him. Min check raises, and Barry throws 300 in like it was nothing here. Pot is quickly $1,600. Turns to 6. And it goes check, check. And the river's a jack. Check, check, and Mike's going to win it there with a 4.
And once again, if you guys don't believe me, you watch the last 2 hands that Mike has taken from Barry. Mike has made almost nothing because he was out of position. He could not maximize the value out of position.
More on that pot odds thing.
Go ahead.
In limit hold'em, it's much, much easier because you always have pot odds because you just need to calculate what the pot is. But when you are thinking about betting someone for pot odds, betting them out, or betting them bet that they shouldn't call on a draw.
I knew you raised 140. I know you just have an ace high. That's a weak raise. I know you have ace high. I knew my pair of 4s was good.
Dave, you also have to consider, if they make their draw, how much you're going to pay them off. And that is something that's going to come into consideration with pot odds. Because when I look at it and I make a call with a draw, I need to also figure out, I'm calling this amount to win the pot plus their stack. How much I think they're going to pay me.
Exactly.
You ever think it's coincidence how I just keep beating you?
And you've got to think that, okay, well, let's say I've got a set. If they make their flush and they only bet 200 on the river, am I going to be forced to pay them off? I might be forced to because the pot's so big. Okay, well, you need to start thinking those things through. Thinking those things through.
Jonas raised here with pocket jack to see a top set here. Jack 5-10. He's going to bet. Real weak here. Mike has no piece of it. He doesn't get him to bite.
I was hoping ended on the flop. You bet 300.
What were you even calling a raise for pre-flop with it?
Or remain a question pot players.
Because I know if a donkey like you has a hand, he can't let go of it. Just like I proved, right?
I watched you not let go of your hand against Ellen here, too. Good move.
We got a collection pot here. Once again, it's $11 per player per half hour. The winner of this pot, now the pot has to be at least $500, and the winner of it will pay the collection. So in this case, it's $99. Now, since Alex actually is not at the table, they will just take $11 out of his stack. Hope that helps you out. Once again, we're live at the bike. I'm David Tuckman here with Bart Hanson. You can catch us every Monday through Friday from 7 to 10 Pacific time. And we're going to see this 3-way, $120 pot to the flop.
Yep, limped around here.
Ace 7-6, couple of spades out there.
Mike's got the best of it again here with middle pair, and he's going to bet 100.
Now,
Almost not even going to get involved there with 7-4.
But it seemed like Mike flops pairs more than anybody else, or is he just in the hands more?
He's really been getting hit by the deck tonight.
It just seems like every time, like, if he's got 9-4, he hits a pair. If he has 7-9, he hits a pair. I mean, you're only supposed to, when you don't have a pair pre-flop, you're only supposed to catch a pair or better, I think, like 1/3 of the time, right? Now, I know you've been actually talking to Serpent Line, Jeff Klein, through PMs and stuff. Where is he playing in Las Vegas?
I actually haven't talked to him.
You
recently.
haven't? I thought he did. Okay.
I know he PM'd me last night, and I didn't get a chance to get back to him. But I will read his hand.
I'm curious where he's playing and how he's doing it. Obviously, Jeff Klein, a longtime watcher.
Limped around here to the button. Mike raises it up to 120. And Barry's dominated here with diamonds. four-way action, about a $500 pot, and the flop comes 10, 8, 9. Now, Mike's got top pair. Avo's got bottom 2 on a 3-flush board here. It gets checked to Mike. He bets. How does Avo play bottom 2 on this board? It's a really tough hand in no-limit hold'em.
It's one of those things where if you raise this, and he's not even going to get involved.
He's just going to fold it.
It's not a bad play. Think about it. If you raise it here and you get played back at, you almost have to throw it away. At the same time, there's almost no safeguard. I mean, I guess the deuce of clubs on the turn is safe.
And the funny thing is, against Mike there, 8-9 against Jack 10, regardless of the hearts, Mike has 8 open-ended outs. He also has 2 10s to improve, plus 3 jacks. I mean, you're looking at 50-50 there with 2 cards to come against Jack 10.
And you're out of position.
And you don't have hearts.
That's not a hand. I mean, no limit hold'em, oftentimes, some players like to play small pots, some players like to play big pots. But a hand like 8-9 in that situation, out of position, you really want to keep that pot as small as possible. And I guess in Avo's case, he goes, you know what, it's not worth it. I'm just going to get rid of it.
80.
$80 raise here by Mike. 7-9 offsuit. Avo's going to call him here with ace-jack offsuit. He's probably not going to call many players with that, but he calls Mike here. Well, there's the ace.
And Mike, once again, does flop a pair.
Ace 8-9.
Mike obviously in bad shape, about a 4-1 dog here.
$240 pot. And he's going to bet, looks like 150 here.
And all Avo can do here is call. So all Avo can really do, I think, is call.
He calls. And the turn's a 9, and Mike sucks out again. Time for him to bet again, I think.
Yeah, now, I mean, you've got to realize that there is obviously a good chance that Mike could be bluffing. But at the same time, Avo really can't beat anything now. He can't beat a real ace. He can't beat a 9. He can beat a straight draw.
$400 bet here by Mike.
And Avo's just thinking, do I really want to go to war with a hand as weak as ace-jack? Avo's got really good instincts. And some people can say, well, if he raised the flop, that wouldn't have happened. How do you know? Mike might have called anyway.
Avo makes the call, and this pot is ballooned to 1,500, and the river's a 4. How much does Mike bet now?
I think at this point, you've got to put Avo on ace-king, and you think you put a nice bet in there. I really do. And he does. Fits $1,200.
Bet $1,200 here. And would Mike really fire 3 times into Avo after Avo called him on the flop and the turn if
Really?
he didn't have a hand?
He might with Jack 10. He might. I mean, it's Mike. I mean, you never know.
Pot is about $2,700, $1,200 for Avo to call. This would be one hell of a laydown here.
I mean, the only thing is that when Avo calls the turn, I'm assuming he's not calling to hit a jack or an ace. He's calling thinking he has the best hand. He's got to know that if Mike is bluffing, Mike's going to continue bluffing.
Yeah, you know, against normal competition, you look at it like, well, if this guy bets again on the river, I can fold. But with Mike, if you're letting him bluff, he might continue to bluff.
He has to bluff. You know if Mike has Jack 10 there, if you're calling with the best hand, you're calling knowing that you're going to have to call off probably $1,000 to $1,200 on the river. Sometimes that's why people fold it on the turn, knowing they're going to face a big bet on the river.
Maybe give them some wrong information.
One of the reasons why sometimes if you're playing short, it's actually easier. You can just move all in and not worry about the river.
$1,200. And look at the laydown there by Avo.
Yeah, that's a nice laydown, huh? Real nice laydown by Avo.
Nice laydown.
He's got real good instincts about the game.
You know, sometimes we talk about that sixth sense that some of the great poker players have. You know, the Daniel Negreanos and some of the great tournament players actually as well. Reading people's hands and such, or just reading how strong they are, how weak they are. And the one thing that Mike definitely has changed about his game, you know, whereas you look at an Adam who was somewhat reckless with how he bets. Mike used to be that. Now, it would be very rare for Mike to fire 3 bullets as a bluff into someone, I think.
Yeah, it's also one of those things where Mike really puts somebody on a hand. Mike's bluffs are kind of, he tries to represent something. He also knows who he's bluffing. And if you compare him to Adam, who obviously, like I said before, is probably like Mike a year ago.
Alex has pulled the limp here with kings, and he got the raise here by Mike. He's trying to pull the limp re-raise here. $90 raise here by Mike. Couple of callers, that's enough dead money where Alex is probably going to push here.
Well, he's definitely going to make it. Probably at least 400 to go.
And look at Paul. Paul's got jacks over there in seat 4.
Oh, wow.
6-6.
Alex is going to re-raise to 660, and this is going to be an interesting one here for Paul. Because I don't think Paul or Alex are deep enough for Paul to play it like trying to hit a set.
It's something you got to be aware of when you're playing in a game with Mike. If you, let's say, a lot of times people would want to raise with jacks because Mike raised. But you've got to realize that in this game, oftentimes...
And Paul re-pushes here. He puts 4 great chips in for 4,000, and all the money's going in here.
Are you sure? There's no way Paul can have aces here?
Well, Alex only has about 1,500 left, right?
I thought he won a big pot. I thought he doubled up before.
I'm looking at his chip stack.
That's it, huh?
Yeah.
And he is going to call, and
He makes the call. And he is way out in front here.
Yeah, and Paul knows if Alex calls, he's dead.
Wow.
There's a
Ace,
king.
king, eight, yeah.
Paul's almost drawing dead. I mean, he needs running hearts or running straight cards.
Yeah.
Yeah. 2 jacks. I mean, that's it.
Turns to 4. That's it, Dave. I was actually a little bit shocked that Paul actually did that so quickly. I was wondering if he was going to
Oh, and look at that.
set of jacks, but Alex has got a set of kings.
Oh, that's painful. And Paul's got to hate that flop. You're looking at that flop going, well, if he didn't have aces or kings already, then I'm dead. And Alex doubles up there through Paul. But it's something you've got to be aware of when you're playing in a game with Corporation Mike. You've got to realize that oftentimes players will limp in an early position with big hands. And if let's say Mike raises it in the cutoff seat, and you've got a good but marginal hand, let's say ace queen, ace jack, even pocket 10s, pocket 9s, and you raise it up, you've got to realize somebody up front might have kings or aces.
Absolutely.
It's one of the reasons why you want to be focused on the game you're playing, almost be watching those players as they put their chips in.
And sometimes you actually, if you play at a table with a player like Mike as a short stack, and Mike raises in position, and you try to isolate with a hand like 9s or 10s, and you push playing short stack poker, you yourself can get trapped because of the limpers in front who are sandbagging the big hand.
Exactly, yeah. It was actually funny. I mean, I made a similar play, like I was in Alex's spot, and there was a player out front, out in the back, and I actually pushed like Alex did with pocket jacks, figuring it was the best hand. And a player in late position actually folded queens. He was planning on making the same move, but when he saw me do it, he figured I had aces or kings.
Really?
And he threw away queens.
Why, because the aggressive guy was even behind him?
Yeah, well, Mike. It was Mike.
Oh, on the button or something.
Exactly.
Like
It was Mike on the button. The guy limped. It was Mike in a straddle spot, actually.
Yeah.
And a guy in the button limped in with queens, knowing Mike would raise. And I had limped in with jacks, knowing Mike would raise.
Limped around here. And Alex does not take a shot at it with 9s, and now Dr. Allen and Barry both have top pair. And Barry checks queen 6 here. Now Alex is going to bet here with third best hand. He's got a gut shot straight draw as well. Dr. Allen's got a pair and a straight draw. And can Barry overcall with queen 6 here?
Yes, he can.
He does. Wait a minute, did Barry make a...
No, I think Dr. Allen actually made a minimum raise.
Wow, and Barry called with queen 6, and Alex called.
How does Alex call that?
I'm surprised Barry called the min check raise. I mean, the min raise, and the river is an ace. This one might get checked down here.
Oh, this is definitely that was clearly. He's not going to bet it, is he?
Yeah, Alex is going to come out and bet. He's going to bet 600, probably knowing that his hand is not good here.
What is he representing? The ace here? Is he trying to represent ace jack?
King 10, perhaps.
I mean, he could have ace queen. I mean,
ace is up, king 10.
Those are all hands you would bet, obviously. Dr. Allen can only really beat a bluff.
He's bet 600 here.
And I was wondering why Alex was calling with 9s. Now, this is a tough spot. He is calling on the turn to bluff 2 players.
And I think it's going to work.
Yeah, hey.
What a bet
Nice
there.
play there by Alex.
Yeah.
It was funny. Now, after I had moved in with jacks, I was playing short stack, and a very tight player threw away queens. I actually asked him, and he said, yeah, you know, I figured you either had aces, kings, queens, or jacks. He goes, I had queens, so I just didn't think it was worth it. Well, you know, you're probably right. I could have obviously easily had aces or kings there, and I would have played it the same exact way.
You might want to play. Maybe in one round. Okay, I'll find out who's.
Button break moves over here to Barry.
We'll play one knit with another. It'll be like no fucking difference.
Folded around to Barry on the button. He's got 4 or 5 of diamonds.
Is he raising? He slipped in.
Slipped in. Wow.
And I think if you're going to open it in there 4-5, I think you probably want to raise it, don't you?
Ace 7-8 here. Gary's got a straight draw. He takes the card, turns a 7. Mo is ahead here with 10 high. Checked around once again. River is an 8.
And the board is going to play.
Yeah, the board's going to play. They're going to chop this one up 3 ways. And Alex is going to throw a little bet out here.
I think he knows it's chopped up. And he goes, you know what, I'll take a shot at it.
Mo folds and he gets it done. He's kind of stolen 2 pots there.
Yeah, nice play by Alex there. Could Alex have an 8 there? Yeah, of course Alex could have an 8 there. And obviously he could have nothing. Button moves over to Alex. Corporation Mom is under the gun. First act. Now, oftentimes we see Barry's game kind of transforming here in front of our eyes. And I want to get to this kind of a little theme of our show.
He's definitely playing it a lot more conservative.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you something.
150.
Abo's going to raise here to 150 with 10-7 of hearts. Now, Mo's got ace, queen of hearts in the small blind, suited, and he makes the call. Now, Jonas has got 6-5 offsuit. We really haven't heard much from Jonas tonight.
No, he's taken 2 pretty big hits, and that was it.
Oh, wow. 2 heart draws.
Yeah, and Abo's actually got the straight draw as well. He's got a gut shot straight draw.
Mo bets 200. And look at this. Jonas is going to call with the gut shot to the 7.
And his straight is good if he catches it, and it's not a heart. And obviously the 7 of hearts is in Abo's hand. Now, Abo needs an offsuit 9. The 9 of hearts is obviously no good. Mo in great shape here.
Would Abo ever raise here with a big draw like this?
Abo would, yes.
Yeah.
He wouldn't raise certain players, but he might raise these 2. We'll see how he plays.
And he's going to raise. He's going to make it 600.
Well, he's got a hand that normally is good enough to go to war with because he's got, he's got a gut shot straight draw, plus he's got the flush draw. And I think
Mo instantly calls. And I think it's time for Jonas to leave this hand.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, two flush out there.
Yeah.
You got to be scared if this 7 of hearts were to come out. Obviously,
Heart
he's
is
no
going to
good.
be in trouble here. $1,700 pot. Here we go to the turn. And the turn's a heart. Now, it pairs the board. Both players have flush. Mo with the nut flush.
And
And it goes check, check here. And the river is a 5. Abo does not bet on the flush here on the turn, in position.
Now, that's a part of way of Avo likes to, first of all, he's playing it a little tricky, but he's also controlling pot size. Once that board pairs, he knows he doesn't have the nuts. He is very far from the nuts.
And Mo's going to bet 1,000 here. So it's a $2,700 pot, 1,000 for Abo, 800. $800 bet, $2,500 pot.
And I think this is clearly from Mo. He either has the ace-high flush, king-high flush, a full house, or absolutely nothing. I don't think he bets a jack here. I really don't.
So
And I
you're
don't think
saying that you would...
Well, it's one of those cases where I don't think he's betting. I don't think he had an 8 because I don't think he's calling a raise with an 8. I think he either has a jack. I'm sorry, he's flush, a full house, or nothing at all.
Well, Avo's getting 3 to 1. It's an $800 bet. The pot is $2,500. $800 to call. And what a laydown this would be again here. We saw a big laydown against Mike. I mean, these are monster laydowns. We haven't seen in over a year and a half on the show.
Well, these players are really improving as we've seen them. They've kind of grown over the last year as we've grown.
Remember, when Mo steps it up to this game, he plays it real straightforward and real tight.
If you're Avo, though, what can you beat when you start thinking about it? What could Mo call me with that I can beat now? 9-10? Obviously, you can beat ace-jack, but would Mo bet ace-jack here? No, he'd probably check, crying, call. Maybe he'd put out a little $400 blocker bet if he had ace-jack.
And would Mo call 9-10 with the 2 flush out there because Avo's got the 10 of hearts in his hand?
There you go. It just doesn't make any sense. And you start thinking about it, Mo is clearly betting a value bet here. Mo likes to, if Mo had ace-jack here, he loves to put out that little blockish $300 bet. We know Mo.
Avo's going to call.
And that's a crying call. That really is. I think Avo knows he's beat.
Yeah.
And look, he...
Yeah.
And he knows it. I mean...
Don't tell me you were thinking that long on the flush. Don't tell me you made a flush and thought that long.
And look at Jonas. He says, don't tell me you made a flush and thought that long. But he did.
I'm wondering, the funny thing is that Jonas actually... You wonder if Avo's game is kind of a step above that. Where I think he was thinking that long because he really thought he was beat.
That's why I don't want to call the river.
Straddled.
Wow, that's an unbelievable hand. Well, let me go back to something that you just said. The pot was $1,600, okay, or $1,700, and Mo puts an $800 bet out there. I think, if I'm in Avo's spot, though, I still think that that could be a blockish bet with the jack. I don't think that that's a big bet, Dave. That's giving me 3.5 to 1. I think I might call there if Mo's making a blockish bet with the jack.
I agree with you, and it normally is. We've watched so much of Mo, though, and haven't we seen him, like, sometimes the pot is $2,000, and he puts in, like, a $400 bet with top pair because he doesn't want to get raised? Because he doesn't want to, he doesn't want to face a big bet on the river?
Now, raise here by Jonas with King Jack at Mike Straddled, and Mike calls with King Deuce of clubs. Jonas hits the jack, and he leads forward with the continuation bet.
And if there was ever a time that, look at this, Jonas is a 99% favorite to win this hand.
Mike gets rid of it there.
There you are.
Sometimes, earlier on in our commentary, again, we've seen Avo on the show for almost a year now, too. He would do some things that we would really question. Like, what is he doing? I remember he checked, I think it was a set of queens against Phil Locke that night, if anybody ever remembers that. But as you and I play more and more, I think we have grown in our appreciation for Avo's game. He really is a special player.
It's a lot about, you've got to realize how important it is, pot control in no limit hold'em when you do not have the nuts and somebody else could, especially against a good player.
He checked a made flush with a pair on the board there on the turn to get himself in a situation where he could call an $800 bet with his flush on the river, and it was a crime call at that.
I'm gonna describe a hand I played with. There's a professional poker player. Obviously, most of us know who he is. Stan Goldstein, one of the best cash game players out there. He's really a phenomenal player. He came on the scene. Most people know him from the World Poker Tour Legends event, the first one that was televised, the one that Chris Karagulian won with Han Lee and Stan Goldstein. And anyway, I was playing in a game last night with Stan Goldstein, and I'm going to get to the hand in a second right after this. Because this is something I've actually learned. I want to say, actually, I can say I learned it from watching the show, and I learned it from watching players like Avo in their game.
Jonas is going to raise here with ace-7 offsuit. Makes it 140 to go. Now, Avo's got ace-3, and he's going to call out of position here. His ace is dominated. So Avo's going to mix it up a little bit here with Jonas. 10-4-6 here. See if Avo's just going to give up on this one. And he does. So go on.
Okay, so anyway, I had 4-3 suited on the button, okay? And the flop came out 7-4-4. Stan Goldstein was in the blind, and he bet right into the pot. And that was a limped around pot, and he bet right into it. It came around, and it folded around to me. And I put almost like a little bit of a mini raise in there, maybe a little bit more than a mini raise. Maybe he made it 35, maybe I made it 80.
Right.
Just to see where everybody was at. And Stan actually called me. And that set off all sorts of alarms because it's not like some donkey calling me.
Right.
This is Stan Goldstein, one of the best cash game players in the world, calling me. And he's seen that I'm not playing many hands. He's seen that I'm playing it real tight tonight.
Mo makes it 220 to go here with ace-8 suited. Bringing it in with ace-rag. Something that is, we're playing a little bit short right now. A couple players are up from the table, and he is going to take it down. So go on.
The question was, now he checks to me on the turn when a blank comes off, okay?
I think you can definitely make a case that you might check the turn to control box up.
That's the thing. Now, there are a lot of different ways to play it. Now, I can bet a little bit on the turn, and if I get check raised, easily muck it.
Right.
Or I can check the turn. Now, I decided to check the turn to keep the pot as small as possible. And then, sure enough, on the river, Stan threw in about a $125 bet, and it was a crying call for me. I really thought I was beat, but I thought the pot was too big, and I said, you know what, maybe he's got the same hand as me. Maybe we chop it up with a 4. And he actually had top full house. He had 7s full of 4s.
Mike is going to raise here to 160 with queen jack offsuit. Barry's going to call. And we're heads up here again. Queen jack against ace-9 of hearts. Barry against Mike. Barry out of position. Queen jack 9 and Mike's flop top 2. Very connected board. I'm sure he's going to bet here. Barry checks.
And you see how Mike is really going to push this. He's going to try to build this pot up, and unfortunately for him, gets no action. Fortunately for Barry, he doesn't hit anything. Now, I'll say, when I first started playing no-limit cash games, I have no problem calling other players fish, and I'm going to call myself a fish when I was young, when I was in a different time. When I was first started playing this game, And I might not have, in my first couple of days of playing this game, I might not have paid attention to who I was in the pot with. And I might have built a pot up a little bit too big. And here we got a chip count. We'll finish in about a second.
$56,000 in the pot here. Mike with 15,000, Barry with 9,300, Trish on the short stack. Let's take a look at the differences here. Mike up 10,000, Dave. Wow.
It's amazing, really, it is.
And Paul down 5,800. Jonas is just about even.
Mike has just been on absolute fire. Anyway, I was going to say, when I first started playing this game and I didn't really understand controlling pot size, there's a good chance I would have lost a big pot to Stan Goldstein.
Now, Trish has raised a base queen. Avo's called her with queen 10. And again, this is the type of thing against Trish you might do with an inferior hand because you might think you could get her off of a hand. I mean, Avo's not going to call queen 10 against Mo's raise, I don't think. Now, Trish is going to bet 300 here. And Avo's just not going to get involved here.
Now, and you say that not to knock Trish, obviously.
No, not at all.
Actually, contrary, good players, you can get good players off the hands.
Right.
That's the difference.
People that are paying attention, people that are good. You know, it's kind of the similar thing when I talk about like a Dr. Beebe. He's not going to get involved in a big pot with what we see as anything less than almost the nuts.
Yeah, no, definitely. He doesn't want to commit a lot of chips without the
Definitely
nuts.
not overpairs.
No, I don't put Dr. Beebe and Trish in the same league. I really think Trish is a lot more aggressive than Dr. Beebe, and I like her game a lot better than Dr. Beebe, but obviously, good comparison.
Limped around here, Mike in the straddle spot, so it's a $240 pot here. Queen 4 deuce with a couple of diamonds. It's missed everybody, and Mike is going to take a shot at it. He's going to bet 180 here, and he's going to take it down. And the interesting relationship I love about Trish and Mike is they do play against each other. And Trish was telling me a story a couple weeks ago about how she called Mike down with third pair on the river one time. Mike was bluffing.
Classic.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, Mike always wants to check it down with her, and then when she makes her hand, she'll bet right into him.
Right.
She has no problem with it whatsoever.
Mike here in the big blind. 20-40, no limit hold'em.
I'll tell you one thing I love about our show, and one thing I really enjoy. Obviously, we love doing what we do, but I'll tell you, it's helped our games, and I know my game, tenfold.
Jonas made it 150 to go here with 6-3 suited on the button. We need to see Mike's cards. Well, Jonas has flopped an open-ended straight draw, and Mike has got ace-jack, so Mike is missed here. And Jonas takes the card here,
and he
hits it, and he's got a flush draw to boot.
Yeah, Mike is almost drawing dead here. Mike needs an ace or a jack that is not a spade. He's got 4 outs and 4 outs only.
Jonas bets 300, and Mike insta-calls with ace high. Boy, a 3 for Mike would be bad here. The river's a 4. Mike checks. And time for Jonas to value bet here. Took the card on the flop, hit the gin card on the turn.
Now, might you bet kind of smallish time to induce a bluff here?
Induce a call, you mean?
No, I was going to say, first of all, you might get called, but is there any way you could induce the bluff? In this case, though, Mike might think his hand is good enough just to call down.
Well, Jonas is betting. He's actually kind of over-betting the pot. He's bet $1,100 into about a $900 pot here.
Definitely a way to play it. Mike might be thinking that Jonas is trying to buy this with something like king high or even 10 high.
Luckily for Mike, that flop didn't come jack 5-4, and it didn't play out in this manner.
Yeah. I mean, let's say Jonas missed the hand. Jonas would probably be betting the same amount, right? Probably betting 1,200 on this river, 1,100 on the river, and Mike would be correct in beating him in 6 high. Mike might call us, and he does.
And he's going to call it with ace-jack, and Jonas is going to take it down there with the straight. Took the card on the turn, or took the card on the flop. And again, I think that a lot of money would have went in that pot, because Mike might have check-raised Jonas if that came jack 5-4.
Wow. The amazing thing is people at home, and I'm sure we're thinking the same thing, we're watching this, and it seems like Mike is paying off a lot of people. I mean, he paid off Alex when Alex made trips. He paid off Dr. Allen when Dr. Allen had trip 6s. He just paid off Jonas. Yet Mike is still up $8,500. How does he do it?
The worst thing, monster and bluff rate when you're on the wrong move. I should have repopped. Pre-flop.
Three-way action here, limped around, queen 7-5 with a couple of hearts. And C4 is locked up, I think, maybe for Kenny Wynn, Dave.
Oh, action Kenny, huh?
Yep. And Avo's going to lead out here with middle pair. And Jonas is going to call with 6-7. Now Jonas has position on Avo, and Mike overcalls here with a gut shot. And the turn pair's top pair. Let's see if Avo's going to lead out again here. This is probably going to get chopped up between Avo and Jonas. He bets again.
Yeah, right now his 9 does play, though.
But look at this. Jonas has picked up a club draw now on the turn.
Yeah. I wonder if Jonas can use this opportunity to raise.
But sometimes if you raise here, I mean, Avo might have been betting with top pair, and he's going to continue to bet with trips here on the turn.
Avo might call him with a 7.
I mean, sometimes we talk about you pick up a draw now, you can represent that you called with top pair. But I'd be scared that Avo is betting out with the queen here, and he's just caught trips.
Yeah, it is difficult, obviously, when you don't know what the other person has. And he's not going to get involved. Wow, he just throws it away.
Yep.
And the river would have been a queen.
Wow.
And they would have chopped it up. Would have been full house there. Once again, if you want to email us, we'd like to keep the show as interactive as possible. Email us at live@thebike.com. You can also follow a live thread over at 2plus2.com. Go to forums, World Poker Tour, and other events. And go to Live at the Bike for, what is it, June 7th?
June 7th. Again, you can email us with your hands considerations, hand for block. I actually I've had a couple of hands, Dave, but none have really met up to the standards that I want on the video blog, so I'm still looking for one more hand.
I actually have one for us.
Well, I have one. We
there we
only
go.
do 2.
Well, maybe we'll get rid of mine then.
That's okay.
Well, if nobody sends one in, then we'll do ours.
Jonas limps in here, and Mike's going to raise.
We're making a bad
Ace
call.
4 of hearts.
Second bad call on that.
160. Now, Dr. Allen's got pocket 4s here. And he's just going to get rid of it. I mean, he's deep enough. And Jonas is going to call out of position.
Like you always point out, though, that you could hit your set, and Mike could have queen high. You never know what Mike has. Mike's not necessarily raising with a big hand on the button. Like, if you know Mike's got aces there, well, then you can definitely call, but you never know.
So Jonas is going to call here one hands up. Ace 4 of hearts against 8-9 of diamonds. Jack 9-5. Jonas has got middle pair. Let's see how he's going to play it.
Yeah, he's in command of this hand right now, but he's out of position.
Looks like he checked it over to Mike.
280.
And Mike's going to bet 280.
280.
And this one's going to be a little bit interesting, I think. Jonas makes a little check call here.
Pot is now, what, about 800?
Yep. $800 pot. Turns a jack. Pairs top pair. Mike's picked up the nut heart draw now. Will he take the card or represent a jack here?
See, I think if you're Jonas, I mean, that makes my hand stronger. The likelihood of Mike having a jack is that
And Mike
that much
bets
more
400.
remote.
It gets checked to him. He does not take the card. He bets 400.
Kind of a smallish bet. I mean, it's almost asking for a call, isn't it?
Yeah, a half pot size
I
bet.
mean, it's almost as if he had a jack and he's asking for the call.
And Jonas calls.
Jonas obliges.
And we're up to about a $1,600 pot. And the river's a 10.
Ace high.
And Mike is just going to check down ace high there. I don't know if he knew, or, maybe he just didn't want to fire again, didn't think he could get Jonas up the ante. I don't think he thought his hand was good at showdown, though.
No, I don't think so either.
Unless Jonas was on busted clubs.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I agree with you. Mike's game, the one thing that Mike's game has really gotten better at is sometimes he will fire. He used to fire that third bullet, whether he could win or not, because he felt like he had to. He said, well, I got my money in there. I know I can't win without firing, so I'll just fire. Now he's starting to recognize when he has no chance. He goes, you know what? I can't win this pot. I'm just going to give it up. No need throwing money after money.
Now, Bibby Gone on 2+2 is asking, he says, anyone else think that Avo should have raised the turn on that ace-jack hand against Mike if he was going to stay in there? He knows Mike is going to fire again regardless on the river, and he's got a tough decision coming up on the river in this case. Mike is going to be a lot more hesitant to 3-bet with air on the turn if you min-raise there and take a free showdown.
I just folded the best hand against Avo.
Definitely a way to play it. Necessarily, but is it necessarily a bad thing to induce Mike to fire with air?
Right.
If somebody is bluffing, do you really want to stop them from bluffing? I think it's more important to try to figure out what Mike has and to decipher if you have the best hand or not. I never want to stop him from bluffing if he is bluffing.
Kenny Wynn coming in the game here in seat 4. And we are once again a full table. Very, very quiet night from Barry Woods.
Oh, that actually brought me. Okay, I have a question for you. We see players' games transform. We've seen Amir's game transform, and obviously we haven't seen Amir in quite a while. We saw Hollywood Russ's game transform. We've seen Barry's game now transform. Do you ever wonder, as their games transform, do you ever wonder if maybe they go too far to the other side, or then too far to the other side either way?
I know where you're going with that.
Okay, we'll touch on it after this hand.
Mo's racing up here with ace-king on clubs. Jonas is not going to get involved. He thought about calling with king-10 of diamonds.
I mean, we saw Hollywood Russ. He was a super weak, passive, tight player, and he went so far on the other side.
It's the same thing with Amir.
Exactly. They went so far on the side.
They said a mirror thing.
They said, you know what? I was so weak and tight, I'm not going to let anybody bluff me ever.
Yeah.
And then suddenly they became somewhat fish-like, and,
right.
I think Hollywood Russ and Amir would agree with that.
Right.
They almost they paid off everything. They paid
right.
off with hands as weak as like top pair 9 kicker.
Right.
You know, and it was like
because they didn't want to get bluffed out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They always thought they were getting bluffed out. People were always making moves on them, and they started playing. I mean, Russ started raising an early position with hands as weak as ace-7 offsuit.
Now Mo's made a little raise here. We talk about his raise sizes. He's raised to 90. If he had aces or kings, he raised more than that. He's got ace-king this time. Alex calls him with king-6 suited, and Jonas is in there with 8-5 of diamonds. Here we go. And Jonas flops a flush, queen 9-4. And Mo's got nut diamond draw.
I wouldn't be surprised if the money went in right now.
Really?
This is going to get big.
And look at this. Mo checked it. Jonas bet, and let's see what Mo's going to do. Is he going to check raise or just check call? He just check calls here.
Okay. Mo playing it a little slow here.
He's going to check call. Jonas has flopped the flush. The turn is a 9. And it goes check, check. And the river is a 7. You know, perhaps Jonas may be controlling pot size there. And now when it gets checked him a third time, he makes a bet.
I think he is.
$500 bet in his Mo. Mo's got ace-king here. He's thinking about putting the chips in with ace-king high.
Jonas said an interesting quote to me right before the show. Said something really interesting. And Jonas is riverboat king on 2+2, so you can check him out on 2+2 if you want to. Mo lays it down. Jonas is going to take it down with flush. Jonas said oftentimes people make the mistake of trying to protect their hand. They go, I've got a flush. I've got to protect my hand. If a diamond comes out, I'm going to lose. And Jonas said, forget about my hand. I don't care about my hand. I want to protect my stack.
Yeah.
And it's a really interesting, very, very smart statement when you start thinking about it. Who gives a crap? I got pocket aces. I got to protect my aces. No, you don't. They don't care about your aces. I want to protect my $5,000, not my aces. You know, and by Jonas actually checking the turn there, he controls pot size. And you know what? If Mo has nothing, and if Mo does have the ace of diamonds and misses, he might induce a bluff on the river. Now, in that case, obviously, Mo didn't bite, but he might have.
Got a raise here by Mike, 10-7 of clubs, and Barry's coming in here, king 9 of diamonds. Mo and Alex are also in for 120, $500 pot going 4 ways. Ace 10-7 rainbow on the flop.
2 pair for Mike.
Yeah, bottom 2 pair. Boy, that's unbelievable, Dave. That's 400 here.
Well, I mean, I guess he plays so many hands and he's bound to hit some of them,
It
huh?
just seems like tonight it's really extraordinary.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things, you know, it's like Adam, it's like Mike. When the deck hits them, they're going to win. I mean, there's just no ifs, ends, up, downs, yeah. Thank you. What the heck did I just say? Anyway, we were talking about Russ. I know, sorry, English only. We were talking about Hollywood Russ and Amir and how their game transformed and almost went to the extreme on the other side. And it created a whole new leak in their game, which was obviously a lot more detrimental. And now I look at Barry Woods, and I see the more conservative Barry Woods, and I think he definitely needs to become more conservative. But I wonder if he's gone over to the other side where instead of playing it conservatively aggressive, he's almost playing it a little conservatively passive.
Dr. Allen's brought this one in for 110. And Barry's called him in position heads up with queen, jack of clubs. Barry's cards are live. Well, rags here. Allen's probably going to lead forward, and Barry's going to fold.
You shouldn't play, man. You shouldn't play. 140.
Yeah, it's funny, too. Ray in our ears saying you kind of see the same thing happen in the evolution of a baseball swing or a golf swing in sports.
People almost overcompensating the other way.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I do it. I mean, I think we all do it. And it's just interesting, obviously, being a third party watching players.
You know,
we can be very objective and we can see it.
poker,
night in, night out.
You know, poker isn't necessarily a sport, it's a game. But just like sports that are mental, you know, poker's a very mental game too. And we've seen sports that are very physical. Something mental gets in a guy's head, and it really affects their physical performance, just like it might affect you on the poker table. Remember when Chuck Knobloch couldn't throw from second to first base?
Yeah.
When he was with the Yankees, and they moved him to left field?
I mean, the St. Louis Cardinals had a phenom pitcher named Rick Ankiel who developed the same problem. He couldn't throw a strike. He's now an outfielder in their minor league system.
Queen 7-6 here with a couple of clubs. Jonas has got queen out. He's gonna queen 8. He's gonna lead for 100 here from up front.
In less than 5 minutes, he has a seat.
5 minutes,
Less than 5 minutes.
Less than
he
5
has a
minutes. The doctor's like,
seat. He's leaving.
Bottom pair here for Barry.
Yeah.
oh, actually, you can play now.
Someone else is coming in the game, I guess.
Now.
Jonas bets 100, and Barry calls here with bottom pair. Here we go to the turn. Turns a jack.
300.
And I think Jonas is going to keep betting. He's going to bet value bet, value bet, value bet.
Sounds like we got a buddy of Avo's coming in the game in seat 5, so maybe we'll see a new player. So, email from Mark Guanagari says, I think Jonas was questioning why Avo took so long. This is on the flush hand versus Mo. To think, because if he had the flush draw and called the bet on the turn, then hit the flush on the river, what was he looking for when he hit his hand on the river? Avo hit his hand and had a bet that was clearly an amount that was worth calling. Do you agree? But the action was a little bit different from that. Both players made their flush on the turn. Avo checked it. He raised the flop with a big draw, made it on the turn. It went check, check, and then realized when Mo bet on the river, there wasn't a whole lot he could beat when Mo called his raise on the flop.
Exactly.
And that was kind of the point.
I think Avo actually raised the flop, hoping to take it down right there. When Mo called, the board paired also on the turn with the flush card. That obviously, put a little red alarm in Avo's head that he might be beat.
Raise here by Jonas. Made it 180, and Mike loves to play that jack-deuce suited. He makes the call. And Alex is going to come in there with 7-4 of hearts. So here we go, about a $550 pot here, going 3 ways. Jonas, the pre-flop raiser. Well, Jonas has picked up nut spades here, 9-4 deuce. Alex has the best hand. And Jonas takes the card. The turn here is an 8. And Mike's going to bet out here on the deuce. Alex calls, and Jonas calls.
We got it. What do we have?
$1,500 to the river. And the river is a 9 here, and Alex's hand is good.
Yeah.
And Mike is going to bet here again.
And you think Alex is going to pay him off here? Remember, Jonas is behind him. Makes it a little more difficult.
And Alex folds. $1,000 bet here, and now Jonas is possibly thinking of calling with ace high, it looks like. I mean, that would be an unbelievable value bet with jack deuce.
Mike tells me, he goes, I got a deuce here. Is it any good?
Yes? If you mark, I'll show you.
$2,500 pot, $1,000 for Jonas to call.
Jonas told him, yeah, your deuce is good. Obviously, Jonas is not convinced.
And he just said he was hoping Alex was on a smaller flush draw. The reason why he didn't raise the turn is because he wanted Alex in there.
Yeah. Obviously, sometimes you're looking to win those huge pots, and if that spade comes off, Jonas probably thinks he can win a huge pot, maybe even take all of Alex's money.
I want to say something about that in a second, Dave.
Go ahead. I feel like we're doing a golf match right now.
You beat Jack 10, that's 50-50.
John Dadson style.
Pot's like 1,200, you're getting the right odds.
Obviously, a pure bluff catcher. Jonas is still in the hand here with ace 10.
Jonas, the third round leader. I don't think he's going to call this.
He is really thinking about this one with ace high. $1,000 bet here, $2,500 pot.
Well, I mean, Mike just paid off Jonas with ace high. Jonas trying to return the favor. Only on Live at the Bike do you see a $1,000 bet on the river and possibly get paid off by ace high.
Sometimes you get wrapped up in these situations where Jonas knew he had and he gets rid of it. He knew he had such a good hand. Mike shows him the deuce. He had such a good hand on the flop. Maybe it makes him a little bit more difficult to release on the river.
Yeah.
Kind of a mental thing. But Jonas, I've heard that from him before when I've played with him, that sometimes he won't raise with a big nut flush draw because he thinks other people are in there with smaller flush draws, and he wants to win a big hand flush over flush.
Well, I mean, that's sometimes the strategy. When you have, say, some people say, why not raise with pocket 9s or pocket 10s, some hands like that, when you know you have the best hands. And some people say, well, because I want to hit my set and win a monster pot. And those are the kind of hands that you can win a monster pot with.
Limped around here.
5 players.
Trish needs to show us his cards. Her cards, 5-way action here.
I know she got the 6 of spades. You can't see the other one, though.
And we get a set of 3s here for Barry Woods. Queen, Jack, 3. Now, Mo's got Jack, 10 of spades. Is he going to get involved? He makes the call. And Barry is way out in front here.
Oh, yeah.
Bad card for Mo would be a Jack here, or if he picks up a spade draw. Well, the turn is a 9, and now he's open-ended.
Now, it is a heart, though, and that could kill the action.
Look at this, Barry checks, and Mo checks behind him. And the river's a 9, Barry fills up.
Last time you raised with 3-6.
But at this point, you actually hope Mo's got the flush. You hope that Mo is kind of playing it a little tricky and has the flush.
Barry bets 500 here, and there isn't a whole lot that Mo can beat here with Barry betting that river.
No, I mean, you chop it up with anybody who has a jack. You'd lose to a queen, you'd lose to a 9, you'd lose to a flush, and you'd lose to a set.
Remember, Barry almost plays it somewhat scared of Mo, I think.
You'd lose to king 10 as well.
So you got to factor the fact in that Barry has a lot of respect for Mo, doesn't want to get mixed up in pots with him, and now he's betting to me on the river.
I mean, you start thinking of all the possibilities that Barry is betting there, and there's nothing you can beat. So anyway, I was talking about Barry transforming his game, and I kind of, because Barry is a favorite of Live at the Bike, and I know he's a 2+2er, I want to ask our viewers and to wonder, is his game gone to the other extreme?
Like
is he playing it too passively?
Like we talked about Amir and Russ going the other way. Barry's going from the other way down to the other way.
Right, and his game, one of the strengths of Barry's game was that he was a little bit aggressive. I like the fact that he was aggressive.
Now, Mo is raised with Queen Jack, and Mike's smooth call with 8s. Mo's hit top pair. He bets 200. Funny thing here is Trish was away from the table. She had ace-king suited. I'm sure she would have at least called the pre-flop raise.
Yeah, actually, she probably would have raised, right?
Well, Mo raised.
Oh, Mo did raise, okay. Thank you.
I said I have a small pair, right?
Ace-queen.
How am I talking English?
Side bet. Side bet. $50 if you get
How am
ace-queen.
I talking English?
All I know is I smell a lot of bulk.
You asked
If you got
me.
gold, just shoot out of your mouth.
And look at Mo trying to make a bet on the side.
No, it was Mike trying to make the bet.
Right, no, but Mike trying to make a bet. And by making that $50 bet, he's going to get a lot of information out of Mo.
All right, then I call.
Wow, and Mike calls. Kind of talked himself into it.
Put a 9 up there.
Says he thinks he's got ace-queen.
There's the 9, and look at that, and Mike makes a straight.
No, he doesn't have a straight yet, Dave.
Oh, you're right, I'm sorry, he's
And
open-ended.
it goes check, check, and the river's a 9.
2 pair.
And it just goes check, check. Queen Jack is good here.
I got all caught up, but he asked for the 9, it came. I figured he had it straight.
That's
Queen
my
Jack
favorite.
takes it down.
I knew exactly when they started talking.
And obviously the 9 gives Mo the open-ended straight draw as well.
It means he has a small pair. It's like
I said I had pocket 10s.
Email here from Manny AMC says, you guys do a great job on the commentary. Man, this guy Mike is insane. Does he always play like this? Well, you can always check out the archives. $14.95 a month gets you access to over 1,000 hours of live poker over the last year and a half we've done.
Phenomenal value.
And again, the first week I went back and watched, and similar, Corporation Mike, Jonas, and Mo were all on the table with Dr. Beebe last February of 2005.
And who was the best player back then, a year ago?
And Mo was definitely different. He definitely played it looser.
Yeah.
6-way action here, limped around. Jack 8-3 with a couple of diamonds.
Open-ended straight draw here for seat number 3, Avo. 2 diamonds out there. Does he want to get involved? We'll see. Mike's got a flush draw. And now Mo has made top pair. He's got king, queen. And he's going to bet it.
So Avo chose to take that card on the button there.
And if Avo betted it, he probably doesn't take it out. Mike probably calls him a flush draw anyway.
Funny thing is that Mike didn't bet the flush draw, and now he just folds. And Avo folds. I mean, a lot of times Mike's going to bet that flush.
Yeah, I mean, Strange take there. Deuce of hearts on the river changes nothing, and Mo would have won it anyway.
Billy Boys emailed us and said, Avo thought for so long, I thought for sure he was going to muck. Then he grudgingly threw his call into the pot. What enables the great ones to lay down made hands? And how does one become better at making reads to make the great laydowns?
Are you playing now?
Thanks, like your show.
I mean, I think the more experience you get, the better you'll get. And the more you realize that, I mean, the more patient you come, the more you realize that you don't really care how big your hand is. All you want it to be is the winning hand. So if you have ace high, and ace high is the winning hand, well, then make the call. But if you have a full house, and the other guy's got quads, well, lay it down, because who cares? Second best doesn't win anything. You got to realize that. The hand might look pretty, but who cares? Second best wins nothing. Actually, it loses you money. And the more you play, and the more you watch, and the more you read, I think the easier it'll be for you to start reading your opponents and making those big laydowns.
Post here on 2+2, new user 2006. This is a very good quote from Jonas. Seems like a lot of short, small stakes, no limit holding players that I hang out with go way overboard with protecting their hand.
Of course, I mean, you think about it, why do so many players go broke with pocket aces? I mean, for whatever reason, pocket aces makes everybody play bad. I don't know why. What is it about that hand? It's one pair.
Now, Jonas raised with pocket tens here, or did he just limp in? Couldn't quite tell.
He actually limped in.
Okay,
he did. I can see the
Jack
pop.
9-3. And Barry's going to lead out with middle pair here. He bets 130. And Jonas is going to raise him here. And this is obviously an information raise here, Dave.
Definitely. And if you're Barry, you got to throw this away here. You've got second pair, no kicker, no redraw whatsoever. And that's not part of the passive I'm talking about. It's just in the sense of the one hand that I thought was kind of interesting. He limped in on the button, open limped with 4 or 5 diamonds. And then when it checked to him, he checked. And if he raises that, he probably takes it down. Maybe he gets a call, and if that's the flop, he definitely takes it down.
Email here from Lance saying that Skalansky's book, I think it's called Theory on No Limit, or No Limit Hold'em Theory, is out. And I've not had a chance to read it, but I definitely will pick that up and read it.
Definitely.
I haven't heard anyone reviews. If anyone's read it, they can email us and tell us what they think about it. Because there really hasn't been a good book that has put in the principles of a good, say, deep stack, no limit strategy and how to build a pot and maximizing your profits that I've ever seen in print.
Yeah, we'll have to contact Skalansky and see if he'll send us a book so we can review it for the show.
170.
Now, Avo's going to raise it up to 170 here with Jack 9 offsuit, and Barry's going to call him in on the button here with a suited ace.
Nothing wrong with calling in position.
No, that's right.
Queen 6-5 here, a couple hearts.
Yeah, both players miss. Is Avo going to fire into him?
You got him behind him.
Avo bets 260, takes it down. Well, I think C4's locked up for somebody. I'm not sure who.
And it's always interesting, you know, as you're tweaking your game, your poker game, there's always a fine line. You know, you really got to find the right mix of patience and discipline with aggressiveness. And often while you're tweaking your game, you can kind of sway too much in one direction. You play it too aggressive and too laggy.
Email here from Constantine. Says that what I was getting at with terms of the Avo hand with ace-jack, if Avo wants to induce the bluff there by calling the turn, then why does he fold on the river to Mike? What additional information has he gained? The hand hasn't changed for practical purposes since the turn. Avo gains no information from Mike's bet on the river.
And that's where we actually agree with him. I agree with him. I think when Avo, normally when a player like Avo calls on the turn, he is going to call on the river.
Yeah.
That might be part of the point, though, that Mike also knows that once Avo calls on the turn, Mike also knows that Avo will 90% of the time call on the river also, and that didn't stop Mike from firing again.
And then that's the rethought by Avo looking at, well, Mike is bet again here. Doesn't he think,
right,
aren't I representing something big by calling him twice in
exactly. He's saying it's me calling you on the turn, but he's still betting into me. But oftentimes you'll see a lot of the play goes on the flop. You know, a lot of times somebody will call with nothing. They'll float one on the flop. They'll call with a draw. But oftentimes if somebody calls you on the turn, well, they're in there. They're not going to go anywhere.
about 300 open-ended.
And I have to agree with you on that one, Constantine.
You shouldn't have been in there pre-flop. I was thinking that was all. He'd be on his case all day long.
9-7-5 here, a couple of clubs. Now Jones has got a gut shot with an overcard. He's got ace-8. And there's the 8, but that's going to complete Barry's straight.
Well, pocket 6 is over there for seat 7, too.
Well, then seat number 7, Alex and Barry have the same exact hand. Both players have a straight.
And Mike is bet out here with 4-5.
But Barry's not in the hand.
And Mike bets and Alex raises it.
Unfortunately, Barry was not in that hand. He had gotten out of it.
And what is Mike going to do? Mike's going to re-raise him with 4-5. Doesn't believe Alex has the straight.
And I got to tell you, if you're Alex, I might just call. I really might just call. I got to tell you. I have no problem smooth calling this because remember, there's no value to raising it.
Actually, he's going to re-raise.
What's the value of raising this?
He's going to raise it 2,000 more.
And that's going to get Mike off the hand, and Mike immediately folds. I just don't see. You're in position on Mike, right? Why not let him bet into you on the river? I mean, think about it. If Mike has a 6 with the club draw, well, then he's going to move all in because he's free rolling you. And if Mike has 6-10 somehow or 10-jack there, well, then you're dead. What hand can you get Mike to actually call you with where you're not either chopping it or behind? Live at the bike, keeping it real. You got to say it like I see it. I mean, I just don't understand that at all.
Mike's got the button here. Trish has been away from the table for a bit. We're playing 7-handed. Jonas is going to bring this in for a raise.
A2. Yeah, not suited. Not suited.
Ace-6 of hearts. And he's going to take it down.
Oh, it was? Yeah. Oh, all right. My bad. That time I had
New player coming in seat 4. His name is Jack, I believe.
Otherwise,
Did Barry color his hair?
Yeah, he got dyed.
Okay.
He got highlights.
Okay. Yeah, I was looking at that. I mean, I like it.
You would.
Bud moves over here to Avo in seat 3.
I've been known to do that, or maybe even a chair.
Trish, of course, works at the casino with her son, Mike, and she says she's got some business to attend on the other side.
Although,
I guess, what do they
I wouldn't have minded so much.
do Trish and Mike kind of like draw straws to see who has to take care of it?
I was kind of hoping, like,
Or is it like, you know, well, you're up tonight, you stay in the game, I'll go do it.
I'll give him like a
I was going to raise here with the ace-jack off suit.
I'll chop it out. I'll get like the
Makes it 150. Barry's going to call him with the speed limit here, pocket 5s. And Alex is in there 3-4 suited. So here we go. It's a $450 pot going 3 ways. Avo, the pre-flop raiser on the button. 10-8-6 here. Well, Barry's good with 5. Let's see if Avo's going to make this continuation bet here with ace-jack. No, he's going to take the card. He picks up the nut club draw with a Broadway gut shot to the king now as well. He's got a big draw here with 1 card to come. And you know
Actually,
what?
a 9 would be a straight too. It's double gutted, right?
He's double gutted. Yeah, you're right. And with that Broadway card coming, he checked the flop. I definitely think with that draw, you can represent that you might have hit the queen there. Any bet.
Definitely.
That's a good bet by Avo. River would have been the deuce of clubs. He would have made the nuts. Oh, seat 4 is Jeff, not Jack.
Now,
Have you
Jeff,
seen this guy before?
I don't think he's ever been on the show, but I played with him the other
Yeah,
night.
you did. I remember, yeah.
And from what I saw, I was playing shorthanded with him. He seemed real solid.
Really?
I mean, he seemed really solid. Obviously, I only played with him for a couple hours. I didn't get to see his whole cards. But he seemed real
Does that
solid.
make a difference?
It's funny. It seems like poker's real. It's a lot easier when you're in the booth.
Yeah.
But he seemed real solid. Every time he was in the pot, he looked like he knew what he was doing with pot control. He wasn't really overexposing himself with weak hands. He had no problem laying down hands.
$180 raise here by Kenny Wynn. This is the first raise, I believe, that we have seen of him tonight. And he's going to take it down.
Now, after a couple of hours of playing with Jeff, now obviously I didn't get to see his cards, but after a couple of hours of playing with him, I actually had him rated at a -1 or a -2.
I believe we're going to do another chip count here, Dave.
Well, almost $60,000 on the table, and I tell you, the money just grows and grows. Mike in there for $13,000. Now, Jeff has bought in for $10,000, and that always says a lot about the player. Normally, you're not going to see an inexperienced novice buy in for 10,000.
Right.
Mike up 8,000. Jonas up 3 now. Mo's up 1,600. Barry, Trish, and Ava are all down.
Is it too late for me to pay myself? You want to pay it? I don't have it.
Once again, I'm really excited. A couple things going on with the World Cup in a couple days.
Yeah.
And then after that, and I told you already, I am going to be watching it at that pub on Ventura Boulevard in Studio City. Almost
the
every
England
morning.
game, you mean? On Saturday morning.
I'm gonna go to a lot of them. Every morning.
Four-way.
Drinking my ass off.
Four-way action here. Limped around.
Okay.
Mo with the best hand, right? Queen Jack?
Yeah. Straight draw, bottom pair, turns a 9.
Nobody has a diamond.
And Barry's not betting here on the flop. On the button. River here is a 4. And this one might just get checked all the way around here. Well, Mike's going to bet 100 here on the 9. Boy, you really wonder. And now can Mo overcall?
I don't know. I mean, you might put Barry on a king.
Really, I think Barry bets a king.
You're probably right.
I
yeah.
don't put credence in Mike's bet, and I think that
Barry's got a jack or a
might
9?
call with a
9.
jack here. Or
Even a 9, right.
I think in this case, it's very difficult to overcall, sometimes with even a hand as weak as 1 pair.
But as you think about it, the more you think about it, I think you're right. I think Barry probably has a 9 or a jack here. But Mo's going to win this with Queen Jack.
I mean, Dave, how often do you overcall with just 1 pair? Not often, and Mo is overcalling with 3rd pair, but it makes sense to overcall with 3rd pair.
Definitely, the way you explained it was perfect. You see Barry there. Barry probably going to bet an ace or a king on the button. Mike obviously could have nothing.
Dave, I want to plug our buddy Scott Huff's circuit show. Of course, we talked about how we were on that show. You can go to cardplayer.com, head over to the circuit. I listened to a great episode that people had recommended to me. I hadn't gotten a chance to listen to it. And they had the guest was Haralabos Vulgaris, and he is actually a cash game player and tournament player, professional sports gambler out of Canada. What a treat.
Really?
A lot of insight into poker. Very, very funny guy. He talked about the near fight he got into with Freddie Deeb at the Bellagio a couple months back.
Wow, okay, I'm going to check it out.
Yeah.
What date is it?
May 16th.
I'm going to check that out, for sure. I haven't actually listened to that one.
Yeah. Big blind here for Jonas. Trish is back in the game here in 1 hand. Got a little over an hour left in the show.
How sweet. Trish actually comes back and apologizes for being away. I mean, she is so sweet.
Is Mike sweet?
No, Mike's not. I wouldn't describe Mike as sweet. I like Mike. He's a nice guy, but he's not sweet. Trish she's just a doll. Let's just wrap her up and take her home.
Hey, you're talking about the guy's mom here. Give me a break.
I don't want to sleep with her. I just want to put her in a box and wrap her up, put a little bow around her. She's just so cute.
But
She's cool too. I mean, she's so cool.
She's cool.
I mean, how many moms? I mean, she sits there and she she loves being called corporation mom.
Yeah.
She talks shit with everybody. She plays poker. She's cool.
Butt moves over here to seat 8.
And Don actually points out, she says, have you noticed that Barry is awfully quiet? And it's part of it. You wonder if it's part of his more passiveness now.
I have top 2 pair and a flush draw, and I'm behind. I'm looking for the bottom stay.
Yeah, it's always like that when you got a top. Whenever
I'm ready though.
So we had a raise here by Mike out of the straddle spot with ace 10 of clubs.
You said I was in the game, right?
Excuse me, it was Barry with jack 10. So Barry, the pre-flop raiser here. And Mike's got the nut flush draw here, Dave. Queen 6-3 with a couple clubs. Pot is $500, a little over that. Actually about $600.
And Barry's going to fire it. Continuation, bet into it.
340. Alex is probably going to quickly get away from deuces.
Right. Mike's going to at least call this. He might raise it. And when Trish calls...
Well, wait a minute. And Trish is going to...
She calls.
I'm a little surprised at the check call there with 7s. We always say we'd rather lead out there. She check calls, and that brings Mike with the overcall with the nut clubs. Turns a 5.
Well, Trish is still going to... Trish has got a gut shot straight draw as well. And I might bet it. And look, Trish is going to bet it. And I like that play. That's a nice, strong play here.
She bets 600 here, and Mike makes a quick call. And that gets Barry out of there.
Well, Barry's only got jack high.
This pot is over $2,000. And the river's a king.
And Trish checks it down, and And Mike frustrating because he doesn't want to bluff out his mom.
Right. Sevens are going to win it.
And that's one way to play it. Sometimes you want to lead out with it right away. But sometimes you can check it one time. When you get by the button, when you get the bet by the button, instead of check raising, you check call and then bet on the turn if a safe card comes off.
You know, it's funny, and Barry knows that these two are good, but it was actually proper of Mike to show his hand. Some people say, because sometimes that could be a move where you're like, if you didn't see the hands and Trish won there with sevens, it's a little bit peculiar. Obviously, Barry, we all know, but I'm just saying it was against an unknown that was in Barry's spot there, and Trish bet out in the turn, Mike called. Barry muffed, and then it went check, check, and Trish won it with sevens. Mike actually exposed the nut flush draw, and everyone obviously knew what was going on.
Right,
And
right.
you would never suspect it from those two anyways, but it's just something to be pointed out.
No, definitely. You're right. If somebody didn't know those two.
Yeah.
It said, what, their mom? Wait a
Right,
second.
right.
How do we know they're not playing partners?
Right.
160.
That's what I want to do one day, is just make it fun.
Kenny Wynn is going to raise it up here. We need to see his cards in seat 5. He's got ace queen. He's going to make it 160 to go. Now that player, Jeff, he's got a little suited connector. He's going to make the heads-up call here out of position.
Against Kenny Wynn, too.
Tough to make a big pot here with that hand against Kenny Wynn.
But obviously you can get Kenny Wynn off the hand.
Now he flops a flush draw, and I might lead right into Kenny here. He checks.
I probably would as well.
Jack, Jack 4. Kenny's going to make the continuation bet. 220.
I'm going back to
And maybe Jeff is going to check raise here.
I don't think so.
Just a
It's
check
gonna
call.
I mean, it's hit like 5 times.
Turns at 8. Now Jeff actually outturns Kenny with the best hand. He checks again.
I don't think Kenny's going to continue. I think Kenny's probably going to check this. He does.
River's a 4.
And Jeff's got the best hand here with jacks and 8s. 9 kicker. Kenny's obviously got 2 pair as well. But not as good.
Now it's interesting, sometimes you might, a question might pop in your head where if you were Jeff, would you ever bet here to maybe get called by an ace? But I think that Kenny could easily check an overpair here on the turn to control pot size.
Yeah.
And you're going to get called by a hand that beats you.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Kenny could have 9s, you could have 10s,
Yeah.
and you're going to get called by 9s or 10s
Yeah.
as well. You don't buy a jack here.
Right.
Jeff playing it a little conservatively there, especially against Kenny Wynn.
And you can email us at liveatthebike.com. About 50 minutes left if you want your hand considered for the video blog tomorrow.
Email here from Brett Feldman correctly pointing out that Mark Safe and Kathy Liebert were also at that first World Poker Tour Legends tourney. Actually, I don't think Mark Safe was.
In the very first one, I'm not sure.
The Legends, the main event, it was...
I mean, that was before
Chris
the
Karagulian.
2003 World Series of Poker, right?
Yeah, it was Chris Karagulian, Kathy Liebert, Han Lee, Stan Goldstein. It was Mark Safe, you're right.
Actually, it was after,
they were fighting each
at
other.
that time. It was after the World Series because the World Series at that time was in.
Oh, it was in
always
May.
after. Yeah.
It was in May, yeah. Well, Legends Zoe's there, exactly. Kathy Liebert was barely there, though. She was only there for like 2 minutes when her ace-king got... she never caught up to Karagulian's queens.
Raise here by Alex. He raises it with ace-10 of clubs. And Mike wants a piece of him. He's going to call with queen-10. And Kenny's in there with ace-jack. Here we go. $700 pot. And Mike is dominated here by Alex. Oh, this might be interesting here. 10 high flop.
This is what I always wondered about Mike, since he does play a lot of bad kicker hands like King 7, Queen 10, Ace 4. Will he overcommit with a hand like Queen 10 here?
$220 bet here by Alex and a quick call by Mike. Kenny's probably going to get out of the way. And this pot is quickly about $1,100 here. Mike in very bad kicker problems. He checks blind here. Wow, the turn's a diamond.
Yeah, and that's going to be an action killer, but Alex might bet this one more time. Wow.
Check, check, and the river's a jack.
Pretty good.
And now Mike's going to come out and bet.
And I think Alex is going to just call this.
$600 bet. Makes the call. Alex can't beat a flush. He can't beat Jack 10, but he can beat Queen 10 and King 10.
Yeah, and you know what? Mike, that was a value bet by Mike. I really think that. I really think he was betting that, thinking he had the best hand. I don't think, obviously, he was trying to get Alex off of a better hand.
Mark Buonagera emailing said, clearly Mike is in the head of Barry Woods, and I firmly believe that Barry has no chance in this game with Mike in it. What do you think about that? I mean, I think that Barry has lost a little bit of the confidence that he had last year when he was running so hot, just like Mike is high on confidence now that he's been winning the last couple of months.
Confidence is so important in poker, as it is in life.
Yeah.
You got to realize that when you're confident, when things are going well, you know, everything just seems to work out for you. You know, and the confidence just kind of like, it almost comes off you. And you can see, obviously, you can see in the way Barry sits there and doesn't really talk much, and he's kind of slumped over. He's not that confident, and hopefully for him, and like I said, we're both good friends with him, hopefully for him something will turn around for him, and he'll get his spunk back.
Jonas is going to bring this one in with ace-king. Mike calls with jack-9 offsuit on the button. Got a $460 pot going heads up.
Yeah, I did good.
Mike outflops him. Let's see how Jonas is going to play it. Continuation bet here in $300. And Mike is going to make it 600. Min raise, and Jonas quickly calls with the ace-king. Turn is an 8. Mike is still in the lead here.
Yep.
And Jonas is going to lead out again.
And this is the one advantage of playing against Mike, is if you have kings here, Mike will pay you off the entire way.
800 into a pot that is $1,600 to $2,400 pot, 800 for Mike to call.
Also, if you're savvy enough to bet ace-jack or king-jack here, Mike will pay you off the entire way with what is a weak jack.
And Mike calls. Here we go to the river. River's a deuce.
One of the reasons why if you're playing against Mike and you have ace-jack here, you keep betting it for value.
You know, if there was a draw out there, it got there. You know, if Mike was on 4-6 here, he made it.
Yeah.
The pot is $3,200 here right now.
I'll tell you, this is definitely one of the things that when I'm playing Mike, I know that there's a chance Mike could be in there with a hand as weak as Jack 6 or Jack 7. And if I have King Jack or Ace Jack, I am betting it all the way. I also know Mike really can't raise me. Well, he can. I mean, Mike's fearless, but it's difficult to raise without 2-pair or better.
And Jonas checks, and Mike's going to check right behind him, and Mike's going to take down over a $3,000 pot there.
Right. And it's a good check by Jonas. I don't think there's any way Mike is laying that down.
But like you said, you can manipulate that pot in such a way that you might call Mike's raise, bet in on the turn, and he's just going to call you down there with what is top pair, obviously.
Exactly. I mean, I pointed out the hand earlier that I had trip 4s against Stan Goldstein last night, where I was doing my best to keep that pot as small as possible, because I knew there was a good chance I was behind. Against Mike, if I have top pair, top kicker, I don't mind really making it a big pot. And if Mike makes 2-pair, well, then so be it. I'll let him catch his 3-outer, okay? I'm willing to go to war with Mike with that. More often than not, he'll pay me off with top pair, weak kicker. Or he'll make a move on me with nothing. And I don't mind that.
Limped around here.
You better get on the river. I think you got 2 queens.
4-way action. Pocket 4s here for Trish. Pretty nice flop here. 5-3 deuce.
Seriously.
And she's going to bet with the second pair to the board, open-ended straight draw. And usually when Trish is putting money in the pot, she has a fairly good hand, obviously. Not necessarily, you're not going to mix yourself up with her.
One thing I like about Trish's game is some players play it so passive they wouldn't even bet 4s there. Trish does play it aggressive enough that she will bet 4s there. She might even bet a hand like ace-3 there, something like that.
Where did Trish learn to play poker?
She used to be a prop.
Oh, she did. Okay,
she's been in casinos for quite.
Okay.
She actually started out as a prop. For 10 years, she propped. Then she got into the corporation
That
type
explains
of
it, because I
business.
was like, her game is at such an advanced level, and we haven't seen her on the show, that it would be really remarkable if she had just started playing poker a couple of months ago.
She'd been playing poker, I mean, long before Mike was ever playing with cards.
Yeah.
She actually, not only did she do that, she actually played on this blackjack team. You know, like the MIT team. That
Card counting.
She played on a blackjack team
Yeah.
that would go to Vegas. She's actually blackballed. She's not allowed to play blackjack in certain casinos.
Wow. Which obviously means she's really good with the math and the practice. The
Oh,
quick
yeah.
practice
Well, you can see in
counting
it,
like
obviously, her genetics obviously went to Mike. Mike is very good at those kind of mathematical equations, picking up on things.
that. 5-way action here. Limped around. 10-5-5 here on the flop. Mo is not in the hand.
Well, there you go. Barry's got top pair, and he's going to bet it.
Gets 130. Jack 10.
Good bet.
Well, Alex has got the same hand. He's going to call.
And how do you like your Jack 10 here now, huh? Alex is on a free roll here. He can catch 2 spades.
Turns to 6. You wonder if Barry keeps betting. Will Alex continue to call? Because Barry would bet a 5 here.
Yes, he definitely would. It's one of the reasons with Jack 10, I probably don't even call Barry. I mean, yeah, I'm ahead of 10-9, and I'm ahead of 10-8.
He bets it, and I really wouldn't mind a laydown here by Alex.
If you think of all the range of hands that Barry could have, you're probably only ahead of maybe 25% of them. and you're probably behind 75%.
Like I said, he lays it down, and I actually think that is a good lay down. It's a nice aggressive play by Barry. It's definitely one of the strengths of Barry's game that we always talk about.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Now, I got a little post here from Baron Vangertoth, and I always like to read those. Says Barry's been slightly off his game for the last couple of weeks. I don't think it's necessarily a wholesale change, but rather just a random mood change, or whatever altered how he's playing. How many of us really play our A game every single session? And that's a good point, you know. Obviously, that confidence does go up and down for all of us, and we're not all playing our A-plus game all the time. Maybe we should all send them. All you 2+2ers out there, send them a nice PM. Tell them how much you love them. Make them feel good.
It actually might help. You never know. It really actually might help.
Hey, if you're friends with the guy, why not? Send him a little note. I would. You know what I mean? I'm friends with you. If I saw you struggling for a couple of months or a couple of weeks, I'd say something to you, same way you would to me. Why not? It's good to have friends when you're playing a game like this that's as stressful as the poker is on a day in, day out basis.
Kenny Wynn raises here on the button. Makes it 2:20 to go. Now, is Jonas really going to call here? I mean, we talk about how he's out of position with the suited connector.
Well, Jonas wants to call hoping that Kenny's got aces. But Kenny's good enough to get away from aces.
Although, you know, the only mistakes I've ever actually seen Kenny make on this show is when he gets wrapped up with Mike. I've seen him actually make sometimes bad moves, bad calls. He's actually moved on Mike, and Mike has come back over the top of him. You know what I mean? It's really interesting.
Well, Mike has this kind of intrinsic ability to make other players play bad.
Yeah.
You told me you actually called one of his raises with like King 8 suited, right, out of the blind.
Yeah, last Friday.
Because you were
no, I was on the button. But
oh, you were on the button. Okay.
Yeah.
But King 8 suited.
Right.
I mean, you were calling Mike's raise because you're like, well, it's Mike.
I got the best hand, maybe. Yeah.
Exactly. It happens to the best of us.
Four-way action here. 10, 9, 10 here on the flop. Well, Jonas has got Queen Jack. He's open-ended with overcards. Got the spades out there. Alex with the 9. And it's going to get checked around here. Oh, it turns another 10. Let's see if Alex is going to lead out here with a full house now. He does. Gets 130. Obviously, Jonas's draw is now garbage, but he's going to raise. He's going to make it 430, and Alex calls. And I don't necessarily know if I buy Jonas not betting a 10 there on the flop.
Yeah, I got to tell you, it's a strange play.
Yeah.
If a jack or a queen come out, I bet if you're Jonas, you're definitely putting in a value bet.
Yeah, now it's time to value bet here.
Definitely, because I think Alex is going to pay you off. I think you bet big.
Lucky river here for Jonas.
And
That's
there you go, you
700
get paid off.
instant call here for Alex.
Yeah.
And that is going to probably not make him feel too good.
Right.
Queen. Full house.
Yeah.
There's an odd raise there by Jonas. Very easy for Alex to have a 9, and you can't imagine actually your bluff working. You can't imagine him getting it off. Our potato, Jay Siegel, is pointing out Dave is vocalizing his crush on Corporation Mom. Maybe I do have a little crush on her. I know, isn't it his anniversary tonight? I tell you, live at the bike, we take precedence over a 10-year anniversary. Man, that's right. So the important thing is keep your priorities in line.
Button moves over here to seat number 9.
Alan didn't play tonight, huh?
I'm sorry?
Alan didn't play tonight?
No. He's watching me.
Ace Jack here for Trish.
He said the game
It's just the small blind.
Raising is better than calling.
He said the game is without
Not a hand you're really
Alex.
looking for to play out of position.
Alex limps in here with ace 8 of diamonds, and most people raise it up here with 7s.
Trish calls.
Excuse me, it was not a raise. It was not a raise. It's limp turn. I was a little surprised when Trish called there with ace jack off suit this morning.
Odd play.
Queen 10-8 here.
Well, Trish is actually double gutted. She can catch a 9 or a king. It's kind of a nice, well-hidden double gutter.
Turn
if
to
the king
5.
were to come. Trish knew she had a black ace, just didn't know which one it was, and it's the ace of clubs, unfortunately.
And now Alex is going to bet out with the best hand here, ace 8. You know, you were telling me something about the show. You were talking about how that game was so good last night. I was telling you about how I had a swing today because I moved in with the flush draw and overcards and didn't hit it. $3,000 swing.
Right.
And you were saying in a game where there is no fold equity, semi-bluffing has no value. And it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
You were never semi-bluffing, right? I have a bunch of calling stations that will never lay anything down. You should never semi-bluff.
I mean, in the game last night, it was, and I'll just give you just one random hand. Guy raises on the button with king 9
Yeah.
to $250. This is a 5-10 game, by the way. He makes it $250 to go. 4 people call him. One guy has jack 6. One guy's got ace 5. Okay? The flop comes out like 9-6 deuce. Okay? The guy with jack 6 calls down the entire way. No, just keeps calling. Jack 6. Not necessarily thinking he has the best hand, but thinking, well, maybe I'll make 2 pair.
Almost like a limit game.
It was exactly like a 20-40 or even a 4-8 limit game, except we were playing with $100,000 on the table. So obviously, why would I bet my flush draw? They're going to call me anyway.
Well, you might actually bet a nut flush draw similar in limit for value.
Yeah, no, sometimes
many people.
Sometimes I would bet my flush draw just to kind of name my price and to build a pot a little bit.
Especially
so if I hit my hand, I could make a big payoff.
Well, you also might semi-bluff in position against those types of players to get a card on the turn as well.
Definitely.
So, I mean, there is some value to semi-bluff. What I said is probably not a whole lot of reason to semi-bluff from up front out of position.
Yeah, you don't get much information. Now, sometimes if you think nobody's got anything, you can steal it because if they have no pair whatsoever and jack high, you can take it away.
Look at this. Mike raises with king deuce offsuit, and Avo, he's going to re-raise with 6-5 of diamonds. Again, he's kind of been sitting in the trenches, kind of a well-timed little re-raise there.
Just making enough to pay for his blinds as he goes around. And you got to realize that's part of adjusting your game to the table you're playing at. And in a game like the one I was playing in last night, not only did semi-bluffing go out the window, there was really no need to bluff. It was really just wait till you got a big hand, wait till you had not necessarily pocket aces. I'm talking about, wait till you flop 2 pair, you flop trips, you flop a set, and then just make your opponent pay and pay and pay. And I wasn't afraid, obviously, last night. I wasn't even afraid of, like, if I just had top pair, top kicker, of making my opponent pay because I figured they only had second pair.
Limbs around here. Jeff in the small blind with ace queen. 5-way action. Well, there's the ace. Now, and look at this. Alex has got bottom 2. Remember, it is an unraised pot here. We haven't seen Jeff play much.
Yeah, and let's see how Jeff plays this. Ace queen.
He checked it, Dave, from up front. And
A good player is not going to lose a lot of money on this hand.
$160 bet here. And he actually might be in check call mode here.
And he does. He check calls.
Yep.
Kenny's out, and we're going to see this through the turn.
Turns a 9. Jeff checks. And I think if you're Alex, you put the guy on a weak ace, most likely.
You might even put him on a strong ace. Doesn't make a difference.
He bets 400.
No reason to think he's got a 9 or a 4 or 5.
Jeff calls. River here's a 10. And when Alex bets again here on the river, I think alarms might have to go off in your head here. Because wouldn't he check down? The only thing that you might be able to beat here is ace-jack that he might bet here. You can't beat aces up. But Jeff makes a quick call, and Alex extracts a lot of money.
Yeah,
Jeff loses a whole lot, probably more than he should have on a limped pot there.
I got to tell you, that's one of the best played hands I've ever seen Alex play.
Yeah.
We've been a little harsh on him on occasion. I actually think he's a pretty good player.
Yeah.
And that is a great play. A lot of players would have checked the river, kind of been content because the pot was big enough. Great bet on the river. Got paid off by a good ace.
And like I said, none of the straight draws came in. There were no draws on the flop. Maybe I make the check call again on the turn, but when he bets the river there, I really got a question here with ace-queen. Remember, it's a limped pot. Would he bet ace-jack there that much for value? I lose to ace-10, I lose to ace-9, and I lose to obviously 2 pair or some sort of set or something.
Yeah, I just don't... Not much you can beat, really, when you think about it. You can only beat ace-jack.
Yeah.
I don't like the way Jeff played that hand. I really don't. He ended up losing a lot of money by just checking and calling. He got no information at all by checking and calling.
Wow, look at this. Mike is raised with pocket 10s.
And Avo's re-raised it with 10s.
And Avo's re-raised the same hand. And look, can he win? He's got pocket queens here in the small blind. Now, Avo has re-raised. Obviously, if it was just a raise by Mike and a call, Kenny would easily come over the top.
But it is different. Remember, it's Avo re-raising Mike.
Right.
So that doesn't necessarily mean Avo's got a big hand.
Remember, he just did it a couple of hands ago with 6-5 of diamonds.
Exactly. Now, if Avo is raising Trish, I might throw my queens in the muck.
Your turn, sir.
You understand what I'm saying now?
Absolutely.
9:15.
And these are things you've really got to be thinking about.
So do you re-raise here, then?
Man.
I mean, you're going to build... And he's just going to call. I don't mind the call. I mean, if Kenny is can't tell how deep he is, but we know Avo's deep. Does Kenny really want to build a monster pot out of position against queens against a huge
Well, that's the
stack?
thing. Depending on how deep you are, you can play it short stack and kind of commit yourself to it with queens.
$1,200 pot here. Wow. All three players with overpairs.
And the problem with the way Kenny's played this hand, and I understand your check, what do you do now with queens?
Well,
I mean, you can beat tens and jacks. That's all you can beat, right?
His stack size might dictate the fact that he's going to push in, which is probably about the pot. Well, he's got a little
I mean,
left.
there's no fold equity. If somebody has kings or aces, they're going to call you.
You bet 600 here.
I mean, can you get called? Oh, he only had 600 left.
Well, actually, he's got more chips behind. I can't. Well, supposedly we're getting word he only has 400 left, and Mike calls.
And that's going to get Avo out, I'm pretty sure. I think that's got to raise alarms in Avo's head. I mean,
Really? You don't think Mike could call with a 9 here?
No, I can't beat Kenny. I don't care about Mike.
You think that Kenny's leading out with...
Wait, Kenny's going to lead out into a... Wait, Mike raised, you re-raised, and Kenny's leading into this pot after he called? What, with what, 8s?
Well, Mike makes the call, and Kenny is all in here. Mike's going to need running straights because all the 10s are dead. Turns a king.
Well, he's drawing dead, that's it.
And Mike calls. This pot is going to be right around $3,000.
Mike's drawing dead, by the
Yeah,
way.
he is. River's 9. Queens are good there.
I mean, you know what I mean? I think if you're in Avo spot, I think you fold those 10s 100% of the time.
Absolutely.
But Kenny obviously puts himself in a perilous spot with queens there. You get no information whatsoever. Although at that point you're so short stacked, there's really no other way to play it, is there? Because if you get the information, by the time you get the information, you're pot committed.
You know, that was actually one of the things that was mentioned in that interview I said on the circuit with Mr. Bulgaris. Queens, and I'm deep, and I got another guy that's good, and I respect, and he's deep. I might really not want to build the pot up out of position with queens.
I agree, yeah. 100%. Definitely.
Really puts you in a tough spot.
Yeah, I mean, now Kenny, obviously, since he was short stacked, it makes it a little bit easier. He can push in there, and you know what? If Avo's got aces, okay. He kind of tapped the table. Well done. Good job, buddy. And he rebuy.
Sometimes they ask me, who's in the game? I say, okay, Ken. They say, oh, James?
Got an email there from, missed it. Email there from Ben Dixon out of Oklahoma. He says, hey, do these guys keep playing after you guys go off the air? If not, are there any adjustments the players make playing within a set time limit? No, these guys continue playing. This game has to go on probably till wee hours. I mean, probably 3, 4 in the morning. And there's probably a board for this game as well. So as players leave, new players come in. Cash game, I mean, difference in a tournament, which is what you normally watch on TV. These players can get up and leave whenever they want to. They can stay as long as they want.
I'm thinking to move all the way up.
It's all their choice.
I don't understand why you did that.
I think the right play, I should push it all in.
5 players.
5-way action here, limped around. Mike with king 10 did not raise it in somewhat late position. And Jeff limped in the cutoff with ace jack, and he's going to bet 200.
Almost, I almost get to that. Almost.
And again, from the one hand we saw Jeff play, he really lost too much, I think, with ace queen. Like I said, when that guy bets that river, it is just a bluff with a big bet there, or he's making a value.
Yeah. I mean, I like I said, I mean, from playing against Jeff, I really thought he was a pretty solid player. I just think when you have ace queen there out of position, check call, check call, check call, that's a little bit weak. You know, to quote Ronnie McMillan, you get no information from checking. Absolutely none.
I'm not saying it's a bad play to move. I'm not saying it's a bad.
He doesn't want to give you a free card.
You know, now you have to call him once you've seen 3/5 of your hand. You have You're going to call him anyways if he goes all in free flops. So he's not protecting his hand.
120.
Interesting post here on 2+2 on by Pajeto. About to read it in a second.
Mike's going to raise here to 120 with king 10 of diamonds. Avo calls with a suited ace. Wow, and look at that, all the aces. We got 3 aces out there. Alex calls, Mo calls, and Jonas calls.
5 players.
$600 pot here. 3 weak aces, 8, 9, and king 10 of diamonds in the hand.
And there's a diamonds.
Now, Alex has got top pair, but Mike's got overs and a flush draw. But look at Jonas. He's got the nut flush draw.
And this is the exact situation we were talking about earlier, where Jonas actually, he doesn't want to drive Mike out. He wants to keep Mike in,
might just
let the
call
diamonds
here.
hit,
Yeah.
and then win a huge pot and double throw.
Well, Alex is going to lead out here. Well, this time Jonas is going to raise.
440.
Makes it 440. And Mike instantly calls.
And that's going to kind of go, wait a second, now Mike is calling me. And if somebody else calls, you start thinking about it, you go, wait a second, is there a chance somebody else has a diamond draw? Might I be able to win a huge pot?
Now, can Alex continue on here? A bet, a raise by Jonas, a call by Mike. Is this what you're looking for with 8, 9 offsuit?
It's always tough when it's Jonas and Mike. I mean, these guys don't necessarily have anything.
He folds. And if a diamond comes here, we're going to see a humongous pot.
Yeah, Jonas, obviously, 4-1 favorite here. Mike needs a offsuit king or 10. He's only got 6 outs to the win.
$1,500 pot here. Here we go to the turn. Turns a 10,
Oh,
and Mike
man.
hits it. Wow.
Jonas has got, Mike's got 6 outs, and he gets there. That's just ugly. And suddenly now, Mike is a 3-1 favorite.
It's a $1,500 pot. And Mike checks it. He checks the turn. Oh, and the river's a 10. And Mike's got trip 10s. And Jonas is going to bluff right into trips here. He's going to bet $1,500 here. And for Mike, I think you probably can only call here, right?
Yeah, and you know what? It's funny. I mean, Mike looks like he's a great player here.
Yeah.
But he had 6 outs. I mean, if a diamond comes off, Mike probably doubles up Jonas.
Absolutely. There's no question about it.
Yeah, I mean, and you look at the way this hand turned out. Mike had 6 outs to the win, and he catches 2 of them.
I mean, Mike is thinking
Oh.
here. You can't raise here, can you? I just don't think you can raise. He makes the call. And wow, Jonas is going to be sick when he sees Mike's hand because he knows how much money he would have won.
You want diamonds? You want diamonds in the worst way.
Oh, and look at
But I'm
that.
thinking if he probably raised with a flush draw or 7-8.
Wow.
Oh.
Or a set, man. And, then
And that's, you know what it is? You know, the funny thing is,
Question pot.
Jonas is sitting there, and you know what's going through his mind when he goes, man, when you talk about the fine line between winning and losing in one given night in poker, and obviously it's one of the reasons why you can't really judge poker on one night. If a diamond comes there, Jonas probably wins about $7,000, right?
Yeah, however much he has in front of him.
Exactly. Maybe $6,000, $7,000, whatever he has in front. But because the diamond doesn't come, because it's running 10s,
He ends
instead
up
of
losing.
winning 7,000, he ends up losing about
$2,500.
$2,500. We're talking a $10,000 swing because of that card, and Jonas is a huge favorite.
I should have bet on the turn.
I know you got a flush draw.
Live straddle here by Mike.
But then I'm thinking you could
Kenny is gonna raise, and Barry Woods has got queens right next to him. $240 raise, and Barry is just gonna call, and I actually do not mind that against Kenny Wynn. Sometimes you say you might want to re-raise the queens to get information.
No, actually, sometimes by just calling with queens also is you're concealing the strength of your hand. If it comes out 7 high,
Right.
there's a good chance, and look at this flop.
Yeah, Kenny's probably gonna bet here.
Kenny probably thinks he's good. He's only 1 overcard to him.
$500 pot.
Now, obviously, Barry hasn't gotten much information. Kenny could have kings races.
I don't think you double up.
Kenny's gonna bet.
I'm going to lead right into
Now, let me ask you this. Is there any value to raising? Really? The only hand that Kenny would call you with that you can beat now is jacks,
Yeah, right.
right?
I
Kenny's not going to call 9s or 8s.
I might just check raise.
Kings or aces, he's going to re-raise you. In this one situation, I actually think a call is in order. I mean, if you raise here, you're raising for information, and if Kenny comes over the top back, you've got to throw it away, right?
You gotcha. Raise.
Well, he's gonna raise.
And the only value to this raise, I guess, I mean, Kenny could call him with jacks, and obviously it's an informational raise. If Kenny were to re-raise you back, you need to lay this down,
Yeah, but
knowing
I don't
that
think
Kenny's got kings races.
Yeah, but I don't think the Kenny would re-raise back here with 6s on the board there. The funny thing is, the problem if I play queens in this manner, Dave, and Kenny calls this raise, I am really up a creek because I think he's got aces or kings, or 2 overs and a flush draw. But I have
Okay, well, if
diamonds.
he's got aces or kings,
Yeah.
well, then maybe you make kind of a weakish bet on the turn and take a free showdown.
Or you start thinking I got to bet the guy off the hand and represent a 6.
Well, that's what
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, Kenny's not going to get involved with the 9s with the 1 overcard there. But was there real value to raising there? I mean, would you raise there with the queens? against Kenny Wynn, specifically Kenny Wynn.
Well, the other thing that, might go out against it is, by not raising, you're letting him name his price if he has ace-king or something to get
Yeah, obviously.
basically what is a card that can beat you. You're not, you're vulnerable to 2 overcards.
Definitely. If an ace or a king come off, you're very vulnerable.
Yeah.
Obviously, if a 9 come off, a 9 comes off, suddenly you've kind of dug your own grave.
Yeah.
Barry, I prefer if you didn't use the F word when
Got about 25 minutes left in the show here. Pocket kings here for Mo in the cutoff.
Excuse me?
Mo's played it pretty tight tonight. And Mike's going to call him with the suited connector and the big blind Dave, I guarantee it. He's got 4 or 5 of hearts. And look at that raise size. Remember, Mo raised it to 90 with ace-king. He's making it 180 now with kings. Mike calls.
Why should I say you don't call?
If Mike hits the right top of the flop, this could get big.
Yeah.
Here we go.
It's dependent on
Well,
Oh, tripped 4s for Mike.
I gotta tell you, this guy has a
Mike bets.
unbelievable.
Well, Mo bets 200. What is Mike going to do? He's going to check raise right now. He did not lead out.
I mean, are you fucking kidding me?
He's going to raise right now.
I've never seen a luckier guy. I mean, day in and day out, this guy is just ridiculous.
How much more is it here? 400 more.
Mo's gonna go broke here.
I don't know. I mean, might he just call here and smooth call and smooth call?
And put Mike on a 4?
And Mo is going to call, and this pot is quickly $1,600. Turns a 9. $1,600 pot here. Oh, Marty, you're killing us there. Marty the masseuse.
800.
Mike's going to bet 800 here. He's going to bet 800. And this is what I'm talking about. Might Mo just keep calling. Smooth calling all the way to the river.
Somebody stop that masseuse for a second.
Pot is now 2,200. 800 for Mo to call.
I'll show you, Mo.
Now, like you said, now is there any value to raising here? Would Mike call with pocket 10s or jacks here?
That's the thing. The only value against raising against Mike is Mike might think Mo is making a move, and Mike might make a re-raise here with a hand as weak as ace-7 or a hand as weak as 10s.
See what Mo's going to do here. $800 bet. It's a $2,400 pot. 800 to call.
You do have pretty nails, though.
Mike could make a move with 5-6 of diamonds. I mean, a lot
If
of
Mo
hands.
smooth calls here, I think Mike needs to really value push here on the river. The river's an ace. That actually might save Mo a little bit. Obviously, you can't beat pocket aces now, but I don't think that's going to matter.
God.
Pot is $3,200 here.
I swear, Mike's got like a golden horseshoe up his ass.
How about a $2,000 bet? And there it is. That's the number I picked out of my head. And there it is. It's a
I don't see how-
$2,000 bet.
I mean, the thing is, Mike will rarely bet that much on a bluff, and like you said before, he rarely fires 3 bullets when he's bluffing.
$4,700 pot, $2,000 for Mo to call.
I got to tell you, this is a tough place to be if you're in Mo's spot.
Does
Really
the
is.
ace change anything?
Well, I mean, if Mike was on ace-7, if Mike was just making a move with an ace, let's say he had ace-jack or something, he was making a couple of bluffs, and now he got there, luckily.
That's a stab in the heart if you make a call and he turns over something like ace-jack on the river.
I understand what you're saying, but Mike does that sometimes.
Yeah.
And Mike actually is good enough that if he has ace-jack now, he won't just check it down because he got there. He'll actually bet it thinking, well, now I definitely have the best hand, and I'm going to bet it.
$4,700 pot, $2,000 to call.
Mo's
Mo.
getting, what, 2.5 to 1 about?
Yep.
Not quite 2.5. 2.4 to 1 to call. Could Mike be bluffing 1 out of 2 times?
I think it's a great bet by Mike on the river.
Actually, 1 out of 3 times.
I mean, Mike bet me to that bet. Beat me to the bet. Because I thought 2,000 was the proper bet, and he made it right away.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough place to be if you're in Mo's spot. And obviously, this is the value of calling with a hand like 4-5 if you know somebody's going to be stuck there with kings, especially when you're Corporation Mike and you get it.
Let's listen in here.
I got you on pocket 8.
Yes. Yes, I get you.
Yep, no, I got you on pocket 8.
Yes. Pocket 8 beats you.
You got pocket 8?
Yes.
What a good read, huh? That's fucking unbelievable.
Yeah, I have pocket 8.
I never cease to amaze myself.
But
You put me on the nut flush draw last time, Mike? And you call my raise on the flop?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mike's also having a confidence problem.
Take a fuck, you might have nut dimes.
So you figure you might as well call for your 6 outer?
I figured I might hit running 10s.
Again, you wonder if the ace is going to save Mo here.
Give me a chip. I'm calling.
And he's going to make the call. He calls for a check, and Mike has him with trip fours. Unbelievable. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. And let me run that hand back there, Dave. Is there any way that Mike extracts more money from Mo if he actually leads out on the... This is what it would happen if he led out on the flop. Mo probably would have raised. Now you might smooth call, but I would not check the turn to Mo, because Mo is going to definitely, I'm almost 100% guaranteed, check behind to control pot size. I've seen him do it numerous times with an overpair.
That's my range of
Bet, call the raise, lead on the turn, and then actually get to lead more on the river. Could he have made more money if he played it out that way?
You really want to make the most money against Mo, you probably lead right into him.
Yeah.
When he raises, you repop him right back.
Oh, we actually just re-push there.
Because Mo doesn't believe somebody would play 4 that
Raise
way.
Yeah.
140.
Especially Mike. I mean,
Raise.
maybe.
There's no way.
He made an awful lot of money, obviously. Mo's only got maybe.
Yeah.
What does Mo have left?
Actually, you're right. He only has, yeah.
Like, what, 500 left maybe?
It's just an interesting way to, you might play
Definitely,
the
yeah.
hand if you're deeper stacked.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. Nice value bet there by Mike. And, you know, Mike's image, he gets paid off once again.
Barry brings this one in for a raise with ace-8. Mo calls with 9s. Trish in with 4-5 of clubs. Mike is in the hand. We need to see his cards in C2. Three-way action here. Jack 8-6 with a couple of hearts. Well, Barry's had a piece of it.
Mo's got the best. Yeah, no, Mo's got the best hands today.
Yeah, Mike's got ace-6, so he also has a piece of it.
300.
And Mike's going to bet 300. And I don't know if you can continue on here if you're Barry. With two solid players behind you. You might call and see what Mo and Trish do behind you.
It's definitely a way to go about it. It is a connected board, obviously. If somebody's got 9-10, 9-7, 7-5, or hearts.
You know, it's funny, we gave Gus a lot of crap. Barry's played it so tight and so conservative, but now do you really want to open it up with ace-8 and now build yourself a big pot with ace-8? Now, he raises the best hand out, and he raises Mike, and Mike is not going to continue on, but it's really a dangerous type of situation to get yourself into, right?
It is. But I got to tell you, I'd rather see Barry. I'd rather see the old Barry where he's raising rather than calling. A couple of good plays like that, and he'll get his confidence back, and we'll see that old Barry. Because the old Barry was a winning player. He was successful, he was winning, and if he would just kind of just nip a couple of his calls in the bud a little bit against some tight players, where he was calling like Dr. Beebe down or calling Kenny Wynn down, you would kind of stop doing that. He would have been a very successful player, I really think.
See? Right when you're doing good, you just slip right
Button moves over here to Mike.
Tim Heeson here says, hey, David Bart, heard you mention the World Cup. He'll be in Vegas for the first week and hopes to catch some of the action. According to him, he says, Wayne Rooney is cleared to play.
Yeah, I don't know if he's 100% though, obviously. Avo has raised it with 7s here. Well, actually, 8-7 offsuit, and Trish is called with pocket 5s.
That's it. England's winning the World Cup.
Let's see if Avo's going to lead forward here. If he does, he's going to take it down. And against a player like Trish, I'm going to bet and see what she does. I'm not going to check it to her.
No, exactly. I agree with you. Because she will bet. She's a good enough player that she will bet.
Yeah.
And do you really want to be in a spot to check raise her? Tell me, England's going to win the World Cup. England.
Well, they haven't since, what, 64?
When was the last time the U.S. won the World Cup?
They made the semifinals in 1932. When they had a bunch of Scotsmen on the team. But last time they made the quarters, and I have to say they badly outplayed Germany and kind of got sucked out, quote unquote, for 1-0 loss.
You can't get sucked out in sports. The best team wins.
Did you see the match?
I did.
And Germany outplayed the U.S.? Are you kidding me? What a joke.
In sports, it's very easy. It's unlike poker. In sports, it's very easy. They keep score. And the person with the more goals, they win. It's not a matter of, well, let's give Germany an 8.4 and we'll give the United States a 9.2 because they played better.
Avo raised us here with pocket jacks. Barry's going to call with ace-queen. Is Mo going to call here with jack 10 of hearts from mid-position? Avo's raise on the button. And Mo did call. We'll get word how much Mo is going to be behind. Not exactly sure. And this pot is quickly. $1,300.
Mo's rebluffed 8,000.
4 players.
8-5-6 here with a couple of diamonds.
That's an ugly flop.
Avo good with the jacks, with the jack of diamonds here. It's a $1,300 pot. He checks it.
Yeah, he's going to keep this pot small. He really is.
Turns a 4. Now anyone with a 7 would have a straight, and Mike makes 2 pair.
Yeah, Mike's got the he's got the goods right now. And Mike, the overwhelming favorite, and he's going to put some money in the pot. Never scared to put money in there.
That's 400. And, you know, when Avo sometimes plays it this way, it puts him in a tough spot. 4-5 is good again for Mike.
Yeah, might Avo call this one time and see what Mike does on the river. Obviously, you've got to realize you might be drawing dead.
Well, if he does call, he actually has a lot of outs. Any diamond, a jack, an 8 or a 6, and he just folds.
Yeah, you know what? Pick a better spot than that, I guess.
400.
And the worst thing for Barry here is if an ace or a queen came on the river, I think.
Yeah.
He's got a diamond draw with overcards, with a river's a 9.
This whole time.
And is Mike going to value bet 2 pair on the river?
You know, with this board, I don't know. I don't actually mind the check behind. What
No,
are you
I
gonna
don't either.
call
I was just wondering if
yeah.
you would.
Yeah.
I don't mind the check either.
Yeah.
I mean, what can you beat? You put 4-5. Appreciate all the emails from everybody. We like the bad ones and the good ones. Thank you very much. You can email us at live@thebike.com.
Email here from Trey saying, I did see Dr. Allen try to play like Corporation Mike the other night. He has played since then. Did he figure out that he was playing a little blind in the sense he didn't really have a backdoor draw or anything and was kind of just making moves that were kind of obvious? Tell Dr. Allen better luck next time. I commend his attempt to mix up his game.
And he actually admitted, he actually talked to us about it and said he was just donking it up a little bit. And not quite sure why he did it, but he did. We all do, I guess, occasionally.
Three-way action here. Little raise here, I believe. Was it by Mike? Oh, he's got Jack 10.
Interesting email here from Michael Feynman. Get to it in a second.
Mike bets 200. Jonas is going to call here with middle pair. And he's in trouble. Turns an 8.
Oh, he's not going to lose much money on this one, is he?
Mike's going to bet again. And Jonas got involved. He's actually lost a couple of pots to Mike by check calling with second, third pair all the way down to Mike.
Well, you can get, you know, sometimes at the end of the night you realize you go, wow, I'm down $2,500. I didn't lose any big pots. Where did I lose it? And you realize that it was 300 here, 400 here, 300 there, and it adds up. It really does. And obviously, if you play a smaller game the same way, if you're playing that small, like a small $200 game, and you're losing 20 here and 20 there and 30 there, it adds up.
Jonas gets away from it. Now he's going to ask you if Jonas calls there and say the river pairs the 3. If you're Mike with his image, do you overvalue that a hand as weak as one pair there? Because I don't buy the fact that Jonas has a 10. I really don't.
I think Mike probably does bet it. Email here from Michael Feynman. He says controlling pot size. And he talks about here, if you don't have the nuts, is it the object to keep the pot size under control? So if your opponent hits his bad kicker, you can make a reasonable river call to pay him off. Or obviously if your opponent is bluffing, you can pay him off. Make a tough call. Or do you bet your hands on all streets and trust your game that you know you're ahead?
Skill.
Now, obviously, it really depends on who you're playing against, and if you're looking to play big pots against other players. Now, if I'm playing against a real tough competition, I've got to realize that if I'm in a really, really big pot against a really, really tough player, and I only have one pair, I'm not good. I can't be good. Because a really tough, good player is not going to be in there less than one pair.
Limped around here 3 ways. Ace, deuce, 8 here. Well, Mo and Jonas both have flush draws. Mo on the higher flush draw. And Jonas has a pair and a flush draw, and I think he's looking to check raise Mike here, Dave, because he's got a monster here with 8-4 hearts, and it gets checked around. And now Jonas has got trips and a flush draw, and he checked it again.
Yes, sir.
And Mike's not buying it.
I know, it's one
And the river isn't great.
Mo must have a hand.
Jonas is trying to play that trap game.
And
with
look at Mike. Mike goes, Mo must have a hand.
And Mo's going to bet 100 here. And Jonas is going to raise him. And in this case, I like the raise here. You don't put Jonas on an 8.
You don't put Mo on an 8, mean?
Well, if I'm Mo, I say, Mo might call there with an ace. I don't think Mo checks an ace
I see what
twice.
you mean,
but
right?
yeah.
Definitely. Now, obviously, and then get back to the controlling pot size, it really depends. I mean, against certain players that are bound to pay you off, with really weak holdings, well, then I don't mind building a pot up with a hand as weak as just trips, no kicker. You've got to really understand who you're playing against.
Seems like you are definitely more of a proponent of betting on the turn to control pot size with the intention of folding to a check raise and taking a free showdown at the river as opposed to checking the turn.
Yeah, I mean, it depends obviously on the texture of the board. If the board has a lot of draws, like let's say there's a flush draw out there, a straight draw out there, I don't want to let my opponent get there for cheap. Now, if there's no draw out there, I might check the turn, inducing a bluff, also keeping the pot small.
See, does Mike change to 4, huh?
Queen 7-7 here on the flop. Turn is a 6 of hearts. Jonas is going to bet here. Barry's got the 4 of hearts here in the draw. I don't think he's going to call. And Barry calls here with King 4 with the 4 of hearts game. Wow. And the river's a 4. And now Jonas is going to throw a little $200 value bet out here with the queen. This is only a bluff catcher here. And and the other thing though too is that I'm more likely to check a turn with an overpair. Say I've got aces and the flop comes queen 7-7 with no draw.
Right.
A guy who I always know sandbags checks to me. I bet he calls. The turn is a blank, deuce of clubs. He checks to me. I'm more likely to check there with aces because I actually have a chance of improving as well, as opposed to betting in. Now, if he checks me again on the river, I'm going to throw a value bet, but now I can just call the river bet. And we see it so many times that, Tournament Tony comes to mind. He bets so weak, he minimizes any of his big hands. But might you play it that way, too, with an overpair?
No, it's definitely an interesting way to play it because you go, okay, the board is not scary. There's no draw. My opponent either has a queen or a 7.
Yeah.
Now, if he checks to me again with his queen, I can value bet it.
Now, we had a raise here by Mike with, I think it was
Queen 9.
Queen 9 of clubs, and Jonas calls here. We can't see Jonas's hand. Mike is going to lead out here on an ace 9-3 board.
Board. Jonas is not going to get involved. And I'll say, now with aces, though.
And Mike shows the bluff again.
Well, he had a pair of 9s. The board was ace 9-3 at queen 9, right?
I'm taking 10 back.
Yeah, definitely. Now, if your opponent is sandbagging a 7 and you get lucky enough to catch an ace, oh, man, it's party time. Because you're going to win huge.
Actually, Mike has a pair of 9s there, excuse me.
Right.
Got about 8 minutes left in the show.
Actually, you were at a table once where I had an overpair against what I thought was obvious trips. And I remember I hit my pair on the river when I checked the turn, and the guy paid me off to a huge overbet on the river because I knew he had trips.
Mike is in the blind with pocket jacks. Kenny Wynn just limps in with ace-queen. Barry limps in with ace-5. And Jonas is going to make it 180 with jack 10 of clubs. And let's see what Mike's going to do in the blind here with pocket jacks. Look at this. Avo's in with 8s. And Mike is going to re-raise here?
Yeah, makes it 500 more, I believe.
Yeah. Avo's out of there. He's probably going to get Kenny Wynn out of there. And is Jonas deep enough to call this re-raise? That's the question. Jack 10 of clubs is pretty connected. I like to play that hand heads up in position. It's only 340 more, and he does make the call, and these guys are pretty deep. So this pot is about $1,000 here going heads up. Mike the re-raiser. Ace-6 deuce here on the flop. Mike checks. And is Jonas... We talk about this often, Dave. When you're in position against a blind raiser, can you represent when the ace comes out? He bets 600.
Definitely. Now, Mike obviously doesn't necessarily need a pocket pair to raise out of the blind.
Now, Mike check calls here. Turns a 9. I mean, Jonas has absolutely nothing. He is drawing stone cold dead here.
Now, Jonas would bet an ace. He would bet ace-queen. He would bet ace-jack.
He is drawing stone cold dead. Now, if he thinks that Mike is on a flush draw, might you have to bet here to keep the amount of money that you might be able to bluff on the river? Remember we were talking about, you might not bet that much now, but you need to keep money so you can bluff the river.
Right, right. Definitely.
In case Mike accidentally
he's on like a
backs
king
into
eye
pair.
flush, like king-queen or something like that.
Pot is $2,200. Jonas has about, I want to say, somewhere around 3,000 left.
Now, the funny thing is here, now, obviously Jonas is going to lose this
And he
hand.
checks.
But if Jonas had an ace, would Mike pay him off the entire way?
River's a 3. Mike checks again. You wonder if Jonas is just going to give up here. And he does.
I guess that's good. was hoping you'd fire me.
Going to do the final chip count of the night.
I tell you, man, Wednesday nights, our whale game, it just flies.
Now, does this chip count include that last hand?
It's about a $2,000 swing there.
So Mike is up to actually $18,000.
Look, almost $70,000 on the table now.
And Jonas is going to be down, I don't know, maybe to 1,200 or so, something like that. Let's take a look at the differences.
Yeah, Mike up about 12,000 on the night. Alex up almost 3,000. And the rest of the table is pretty much either even or down. Mike once again dominating the table, dominating the action here.
Jonas's tone cost him. You know that word, bud?
Yeah, I graduated from college.
And instead of live at the bike, we should call it Mike at the bike. It's unbelievable. It's been the Mike show here lately.
Barry's going to raise up here with 9-6 off suit. His mom calls on the button and Mike raises. Mike's mom calls on the button. Mike's going to raise it with ace deuce of hearts here. And again, Barry, this time he's in position with 6-9. He makes the call.
Well, at least he's in position. In position is obviously makes it a lot stronger.
550 here to the flop. Jack 3 Jack here. Mike bets 400.
And can Barry raise this? Can he get Mike off the hand?
Mark will show you. I got ace jack of hearts.
Show me the jack.
I want a little action.
Fine, I'll give you $10. Show me the jack.
Mark, then give me $10. Then I'll show you.
It's so funny, the transformation there.
$10.
Remember when Gore used to get frozen by Barry because he would call everything down? Now it seems like Barry's frozen by Mike. Remember how Gore, he would just, Barry made that big call with pocket sevens about a year and a half ago?
Yeah.
And Gore just couldn't play with Barry anymore?
I got to say, right now, since Mike has been running so hot lately, the last 6 weeks, he's just been on absolute fire. He's almost got the whole table frozen.
This is going to be the last hand of the night. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Stay tuned tomorrow. We're going to be filming the video blog, and, we'll have probably maybe a 3 to 5 game, or hopefully a 500 game. If you could get that going, that would be great. 5 no limit. Butt moves over here to Mike, fittingly enough, for the last hand of the night. Barry's going to raise here to 140 with Jack-8 off suit. Jonas calls, Mike calls, and Otto's got Ace-King here. Now, there's dead money. He doesn't like to build the pot up with ace-king offsuit out of position, but is there enough dead money to raise here to try to pick some of it up?
See, the one problem with Avo just, and he's going to raise.
He is going to raise.
I was going to say, the one problem with Avo just calling here is when he flops an ace or a king, he plays it so passively, post-flop. So here, he's just going to try to pick it up, and I got to tell you, I don't think anybody can call this. I really don't. But Jonas might, and he does.
Suited ace.
And we quickly have about a $1,200 pot.
Yep. Jonas is dominated here. Be interesting to see if an ace flops.
If an ace flops, you probably wouldn't put Avo on an ace.
King 5-5.
Oh, that's a great flop for Avo.
No, Avo play it tricky. Might he check here? There's nothing he's scared of.
No, there really is nothing he's scared of.
But he's going to come out and bet. He bets 600. He's inducing a move by Jonas. He bet real weak. That's another way to play it, Dave. To bet weak and have Jonas come over the top of you. And I think Avo's going to call here. The only thing he loses to is a 5. It's a $2,600 raise here, and once again, an ill-timed move by Jonas.
I mean, Jonas would play a 5 this hard. He would. Thinking maybe Avo's got aces. Yeah. Maybe Avo's got ace-king.
Well, the pot right now with the $800 bet, it's $1,760 more. It is a $3,500 bet. Pot, $1,700 for Avo to call. He's getting 2-1, and I think it's a call with 2-1.
Yeah, of course you're going to call this.
Jonas
no
would
question.
And it's over here, folks. Jonas is drawing dead.
I got an ace.
No good.
Wow, really unbelievable. I mean, I'm kind of left dumbfounded there.
Yeah.
You watch that play, and Avo's played it tight the entire night, and Jonas kind of just gift wraps a little present for him and gives him the money.
Well, that's going to do it for us tonight. Very, very interesting show.
Yeah, great night of poker.
Again, we'll be back here tomorrow. Check out the archives. Check out the replay starting at 11 p.m. For Dave Tuckman, I'm Bart Hanson. Good night, everybody, from Live on the Bike.
It's big, and it's closer than you think. It's not a tournament. It's what you don't see on TV. The cash is real. The stakes are high. They bet big. They win big. They lose big. High stakes live action poker. Live at the bike. Watch it live on the web or play it if you dare at the Bicycle Casino right here in Los Angeles.